The Eagles' premiership defence started shakily, but they appear to have timed their run pretty well and could even snatch the double chance from the Roosters. But to do so, they'll need to overcome a North Adelaide outfit that's coming off a victory over pace setter Central District. That's the sort of confidence money just can't buy. There's just 4 more rounds of football before the finals, and this afternoon at the Woodville Oval, 2 of the top 5 go at each other. Hello everyone and welcome. Ben Knights with me this afternoon for this clash between the Eagles and North Adelaide. And Ben, look, it really does shape as a crackerjack game.
It certainly does. Just 1.5 games separating these teams. North and the Eagles really desperate for a win.
And over time, the Eagles have done pretty well over North Adelaide. And in fact, here at the Woodville Oval, 9 of the past 10 games, the Eagles have managed to beat North Adelaide. So it really is in their favour. If we look at the other games coming up this afternoon, everything, of course, this late in the season has a bearing on the 5, with Port Adelaide taking on Sturt to keep the hopes of the Magpies alive. Double Blues, of course, can secure the double chance with a win this afternoon. Norwood playing West Adelaide, and then tonight, Centrals against South Adelaide. And I would have thought the Bulldogs are unbackable favourites. Here's why: 15 wins and 2 losses on the season. Sturt in second place. And then we go down to North and the Eagles, and the Eagles, as I said, could snatch the double chance. With a win this afternoon, they can get that bit closer. Mark Soderstrom, as usual, is on the boundary this afternoon, and Soder's AFL influence is very much alive in this game.
Certainly is for both sides. For the Eagles, a couple of late inclusions, and what beauties they are. Bernie Vince, Ken McGregor released from the Crows this morning, so they come straight into the Eagles lineup. Also in, Mark Passador spent a month playing in the B grade, kicking a few goals there. He's over his knee problem. He earns his spot back in the side, which is great. Now, last week, the Eagles got over Sturt. They were ruthless in terms of their tackling. They led the tackling count 56-24 against the Double Blues. And Ronnie Fuller knows exactly what his boys have to do to get over the Roosters.
Well, I guess the same way we've played over the last 4 or 5 weeks, just being hard and intense around the restarts, good movement in the forward line. And I guess they're thinking exactly the same thing.
Well, the inclusion of Mark Passador, I think, will be important to the Eagles today. He can play back or forward. He's kicked 29 goals in his first 9 games. So that'll be good, and also good to see Ken McGregor and the likes of Lomas, who was excellent last week, going again.
And so, as we've talked about the Eagles, AFL players, what about North?
Well, the Roosters got a good trio coming in for them today. Ian Perry, Damon White and Nathan Loney, all in the red and white today. So Andrew John will be happy to have them back in. Now, one guy who won't be happy about that, Michael Wunke's been squeezed out after 3 goals against Central District. And the Roosters are flying high after that big win against the Bulldogs.
Oh, look, gives you a big boost because Centrals have done some damage in the last 10 years at Prospect. And look, very proud of the group. We took a couple of bad hits against Sturt and Port, and we've regrouped after the bye. And I thought the last 2 weeks we've played super footy for 120 minutes.
Well, Andrew Jarman needs Damon White and Ian Perry to stand up. We've heard about Wunke missing out, and he is very unlucky. Will it be disruptive for the North Adelaide football team today, having that really reshuffled forward line? We'll have to wait and see.
And so does Charity Day in the SANFL, and the Make-A-Wish Foundation in particular benefiting this afternoon.
Yeah, great cause. The SANFL just raising awareness of Make-A-Wish Foundation, who grant seriously ill children, pardon me, coughing away here, they grant seriously ill children with the chance to relive a dream. And today, Brendan and Kieran O'Loughlin have been out there in the colours for the Eagles, and the Roosters getting involved with the toss there, which the Eagles have won.
Thanks for that, Sodas, and we're just about set for a start in this game, and the players taking up position. And here's Michael Maney with the first bounce.
Very good, Neil. Froggy Soderstrom down there doing a wonderful job on the boundary, just trying to croak his way through the pre-match down there, and I just noticed out of the corner of my eye, just taking a nice glass, a bit of water. Good on you, Sodas. Just
make sure he doesn't croak.
Struggling down here, Michael, but we're back in action now. Things very good. Now, I can tell you also, in terms of the weather, around about 15 degrees, very dark outside here, but could be a little shower later on. But at the moment, things look pretty good.
Thanks, Mark. A couple of teams that could may well play off in the grand final. Who knows? Wonderful surface here at Woodville. There's Paul Lindsay. Good to see Bernie Vince into the side. Missed last week because of that club suspension, the Adelaide Crows. So just about everything set for the first quarter. James Allen just with the arm guard there, just waltzing past the umpire. Some significant matchups. Ryswick on Simons on the grandstand wing. That will be a key. Trent Spawn has gone to the skipper in Sikalala. So that will be a good matchup. Underway. Vince gets the first kick run down by Hart, who's been in good form. Loney got it back to Hart. So the early forwards thrust goes to North Adelaide, but the timely mark taken by Peter Fiacci, who continues to be a consistent player at half-back for the Eagles. Jared, who kicked those 2 wonderful goals, one on the run on his left boot and the other on his non-preferred right last week in that top win against the Double Blues. Jared switches play. Redden in his defensive half. Handball over the top to Fiacci. So staggered forward the Eagles. Fiacci doesn't want to kick to a contest, but then decides he's got to do so. Kicks high, and the mark has been taken by Ivans at half-back. Ivans squaring up into the middle looking for White, but that's a terrific mark. One of the late inclusions in McGregor. To the skipper in Sikalala. Sikalala inside, Passador. Can't take it. Hart did pretty well. Good play by the Eagles. Fairclough got it to Treby. High bouncing ball. Will it bounce right? It won't. It hit the post. A behind. First score of the afternoon goes to the Eagles.
It's exactly what you'd expect. Quite a lot of skill, you know, coming from both these teams. A lot of runs this afternoon, and also just that physical contest to start with. And just to see which team will settle first could be very important to get those early goals on the board.
Wakelin, who wanted to palm it down and was held, according to the umpire. Now he gives it off to Laddams, wants the left foot. Trailed by Colville, goes for the lead of Ryswick. And now Spawn is loose ahead of the play. Slipped a bit. Still could get the ball, doesn't. Gets met hard by Powell, who does well to Sikalella. Takes his time as usual. Picks out Fairclough on the wing. Not a bad kick. Fairclough's bounce was horrible. Through came Ivans, gave it away. Fairclough the other way. Loney came at him, fell over. Fairclough kept the feet down to half forward. And more slipping, this time from Passador. Allows the mark to be taken by Coulter. Spreads the ball. Wakelin's been the outman a couple of times already. Awkward kicking style. Got it towards the half-back flank. McIntyre looks up, goes long. Ryswick, position A. Great kick. Just carried far enough. Now he wants to take off. He centres up the ball nicely. Just too much for Brett White. He's done a hamstring. Bad news for North to start the game. Brett White's hemi is pinged.
That's terrible luck as Jared thumps it long, looking for McGregor. McGregor and Schubert. Schubert did pretty well for a big man and then released Hart. Hart, who's really starting to find some form. Wonderful kick, as you would expect from Hart to Ryswick. Ryswick's short kick to Spawn. And I think Brett White's still out there, just in the centre of the ground. But he's a bit wobbly on that leg. Spawn's got it at half-back. White gives him something short. Some players are slipping over, so a little bit slippery underfoot. Mark taken by Wakelin. This is to Brett White. White goes with his left boot. That's not the hammy problem. And Wright takes it.
He's put the hand up, though, now, Brett White, and he will be coming to the bench.
Wright has kicked 7 goals in 2 games. Looks for Alloway. Hire did pretty well. Alloway closed him down. Perry in. Powell with some body work. Motlop, we know he's mercurial. Check side. Which way will it go? It just filters through for one behind.
Probably not the best option there from Motlop to, you know, he had the man on the square, and probably putting it across to the top of the square would have been the better option. We see Dane White just stretching for the footy there. He knew straight away, and hopefully it's not too badly pinged, but he's certainly still out there at the moment, and he's holding it, so you'd expect that that needs some work and some attention from the physio. Here's
Motlop and Perry involved against 4 Eagles. They managed to work a ball up. 60 out from goal. Andrew Jarman. Wonder what's in that.
That's interesting, isn't it, too, now, because Andrew Jarman has to reshuffle. So Bamford coming on, and look, the reshuffle we've done, missing out on having an extra play there, so North Adelaide bench being reduced as well.
Colville high from half-back. Ryswick is supposed to be on this wing. Ben Hart came over the top. Umpire now calls advantage. Jared, lovely kick, Sikalella in front of Spawn, shows it. Oh, it opens up for him. Then his kick was poor to Schwarz, fell over. McIntyre did well. Now Ryswick is clear on centre wing, and that's where they go. They won't catch him. Off he goes, and now it's a question of what's the kick going to be like. Leading back was Damon White. He's run too far in the end. He's dropped it in short for Alloway, missed everybody. Pedler will take it over the line. Disappointing finish as the play opened up for Lee Ryswick.
I mean, Ryswick did the right thing in terms of running and using space, but he had 2 or 3 guys actually lead at him, and then his last option there We see Ben Hart going over the top with a ambitious attempt, you'd probably think, for the mark, giving away that free kick. But just the kick going short to the pocket, not the option again. Either had to get rid of it early and use one of the bigger men with the lead, or get it to the top of the square.
Here's Motlop. Kicks high. Sikalala can't mark. 50-50 ball. Bamford tucked it out the back, but Vince was good enough to grab it. Jared cuts through the centre. The kick looking for McGregor. Body work was good on Schubert. Then over the back he got it. Looks for Schwarz. Schwarz in front. One grab. Can't take it. Hart's there. He's running like a spring chicken at the moment, Ben Hart. That big leap. Ivans is in there. Simmons can't get it out. Schwarz just got it on the boot for a goal. Schwarz, the opportunist, just dribbled it through in the right place at the right time, and he gets his first and the first goal of the game. Let's have a look at this.
It'll be interesting to have a look here, because Andrew McIntyre was not overly happy and didn't really agree with the umpire, but I think he was going for the touch. It's good movement there, because Schwarz, not only did he just sock it off the ground, he actually bent down and picked the football up. So we see the quick pick up here and the quick thinking kick. McIntyre thinking he might have got a fingertip to that, and a bit unhappy, especially when your man gets one early. And Schwarz coming off 4 goals last week. He's been super important for them, and with Mark Passler up there for the Eagles, it gives them a new dimension up forward.
16 possessions and 3-2 against North Adelaide in round 11 for Schwarz, so he started well. Had the impression perhaps that the argument there was it actually came off the leg of McIntyre. Allen, and we know he's a prolific ball winner. Now to Loney from Laddams. And he drops it in short to his Port Adelaide AFL teammate White. Drives it long. Perry in the square, away, and punched in the end over the line by Pedler.
Well, Damon White, good to see him getting an early touch, and likewise Loney. They would have played a fair bit of football together this year. And Andrew Jarman certainly needs those boys to stand up, and likewise with Ian Perry there fighting on the line. They need to get early touches, get their confidence back, and try and have an impact in this game.
Stewart touches down, then just kicks to a man just standing there, and that's Damon White. So White's got another touch, just stood underneath that football, uses Loney. Loney's normally a good kick into the pocket. Did they run out of room? Perry took the mark. Which way did the boundary umpire say? It's in. So Perry. Gee, they've got a potent forward line. Alloway, Perry, Damon White. Long kick by Perry. It's a real helicopter. Alloway and also White. But White's taken the mark. Gee, I think they're going to stretch that Eagles defence. They've got some tools up there, Ben, and they've loaded up with them inside 50.
They certainly will. And, you know, I think that's a really good option by Andrew Jarman to try and put those big tools. I mean, sometimes that may unbalance them, but especially while it's still dry, the sun's shining, the ball's flying. It's a nice dry football, and look, stretch the Eagles defence as much as they can.
Damon White should nail this from 15 metres out, directly in front. It's a goal. North get their first, and they're in front by one solitary point. And it's been a pretty good start to this game. Good conditions, Ben, and some wonderful kicking and some excellent marking, and just shown here with Damon White.
Certainly was. It was a fantastic kick by Ian Perry. The Stars just put the footy right to the top of the square. Been a little bit critical with their early ball movement, the short kick to the pocket we saw before. Also, Motlop having a snap from fair way out and not making it. The last one that White picked, it didn't quite carry the distance, and again it's competed upon the line, and it's just too deep. But that kick there by Ian Perry, fantastic kick, top of the square. Alloway getting on the end of it with also Damon White.
Damon White would be hoping to go back into the AFL, where he's played 49 games, so he's stuck on 49 games. Went to the AFL tribunal to get him off during the week of a possible 2-match ban for charging. He got off with a reprimand and then promptly got dropped from the side. So he'll be looking to get back in. Ball out at half forward for the Eagles.
I guess if you're displaced by anyone, getting displaced by the captain may not be the worst thing.
Dabrowski is the player there for the Eagles, just warming up, waiting to come on. Big Lindsay will no doubt be coming off, probably after this ruck contest with O'Hara, who palmed it down nicely, and then it was well done by Fairclough, and from 25 he has sprayed it.
It's where Paul Lindsay's so valuable. His ruck work is just second to none in the SANFL. He's such a strong big body. Not only is he good on the tap, but also just around the ground, and you know, any opposition they play against him, they know they've got to man him up, because he plays more of a ruck rover, like a tall ruck rover, gets so much of the footy and can be very damaging.
Ben Hart to do the kicking out. He'd be pretty familiar with that over the years, and finds his man in Spawn at half-back. Inkster on the mark, called the play on. Bamford's got some work to do. Uses Spawn. Allen was there.
Kick.
Loose at half-back was Loney. Punishing left footer. Out looking for Damon White. Just gave Redden a shove, and Redden was good enough to knock it out of bounds. Boundary throw in. We've got Michael Avon umpiring this afternoon, Ben. That's terrific to see an AFL umpire just getting back.
It is great to get down here and really spread the, I guess, the SANFL and the AFL love, so to speak, and get the umpires doing both leagues. It helps out all the players, and especially when we get so many AFL players coming back into the SANFL.
That's correct. Ryswick's kick was smothered. Working hard was Lindsay to Powell, and then McKenzie. So some good talent there. McKenzie looks for McGregor. Good play by Schubert. Just backed himself. Got his kick away. It might turn out okay to Uni. Uni got around pretty well and then ducked away. Good play, Heath Uni. Out in front, and the mark not taken by White. Good crumbing by Alloway. Thought about a handball.
Tackle.
Then got one back. Terrific tackle. That was by Redden. No free kick. Thought it might have been one to Simmons. And the umpire's paid one now. And it's going to Redden. Dennis Redden really emerged as a good player. Kicks to Dabrowski, shoved out of the contest. O'Hara, he'll get the free kick. Dabrowski's got to hand it back to him, and O'Hara from the wing has Loney short, playing against his old club, his old home ground. Been at North for a couple of years now. Awkward kicking style. Getting back with courage was Bamford. Couldn't take the mark, couldn't keep it in. Just used his soccer skills there, Scotty Bamford. That was courage, though, running back with a flight.
It certainly was, and Bamford does that week after week. He puts himself in the positions where some people fear to tread, and especially when you've got big Brad Dabrowski coming up behind you, you can hear those big footsteps clumping away. Bamford had to go, and he did, and he made the contest, and now they've got the chance for the 50-50 ball on top of their 50.
Budgie was the call. That's O'Hara. He got it back to Allen. Great chip. Laddams couldn't hold on. Now at the right foot. Not bad, but straight across the goal face in the end and out of bounds, and in the end, not a bad result for North Adelaide.
And also a great tap again by O'Hara in the ruck there. Just now that Lindsay's off, he's got Dabrowski, the less experienced of the two, and O'Hara tapping it backwards over the top into space and opening the goal front up for North Adelaide.
There's O'Hara again. 0-0 result there. Motlop thought he was held. Still in dispute. O'Hara doing the work on the ground, surrounded. Maybe he pulled it in. Wait on the umpire. Ball up is the decision.
Neil, just an update on acting captain for North Adelaide, Brett White. We did see him come off the ground before. Just the top of the hamstring actually up where it inserts it around the glute. Seems to be a bit of a problem. Steve Saunders still working on him. So North Adelaide hopeful that he could return today still.
She's always worried, though, when a player pulls up short like White did. O'Hara again. That was a nice tap. Laddams got one in the back. Made the most of it, yes, but it was there, and Laddams will line up for goal number 1 of the afternoon for him, and 31 for the season.
He's such a dangerous player as well, because he doesn't have to get a lot of the footy. I mean, he has had games this year where he's had 20 and 30 touches and torn sides apart, but even if he gets his 5 or 10 touches within shooting distance, he is so dangerous because he normally finishes very well.
Laddams from the angle, just 30 metres out, sits it up, and it, in the end, was punched through by Dabrowski, so it didn't quite make the distance. An awful kick, really.
So there's a little bit of breeze down there because a few of those North Adelaide kicks have just held up a little bit coming from that side.
Yeah, just look, not much at all, Ben. Just drifting across the ground there. So players just taking their time to get used to that breeze. But look, it doesn't appear to be too significant.
There's some work being done down there on the North Adelaide bench, and looks like James Stewart's run over the mark, over the line in the 10-metre square. So we'll have a ball up. Cardinal sin. Gee, it hurts sides when that happens, doesn't it, Ben?
And I just don't understand why it keeps happening, but every game just about you get one of these or a couple of these, and some players seem to be worse than others, but I just don't understand why it happens. You can see the toe over the line there. It's not that hard. You're only giving yourself an extra couple of centimetres.
Damon White was the man who snared the football and popped it on his left boot and kicks his second behind of the afternoon. North Adelaide by a couple of points in a pretty tight tussle at Woodville Oval.
McKenzie did well there. Pulled the ball in. Takes his time, chips it into the corridor. Dangerous, awful kick in the end. Dabrowski.
Very good take.
Gathered it well for the big guy. Now it's down to centre wing. Sikalella claimed he was held. Off the ground went Flash Jarrett it was. Now Schubert pulled down. Umpire City handball play on. Jarrett comes in again and is taken out of bounds. Bit of experience in that man there, Benny Hart. 311 games. Just coming here.
Very good tackle by Ken McGregor, and it's great to see these AFL boys all getting on the end of the footy and really having an impact for their team. Ken McGregor, of course, an Eagles boy originally.
Craig rode the bump beautifully. Then Spawn and then Loney and then the left foot of Coulter. He goes wide looking for White, and he should and does take it. Redden with the pressure. So Damon White on centre wing goes for Perry, and Perry leads up nicely. Hires a long way over the mark. Umpire calling him back. He'll have to be quick. Perry decides to go down the line. Ryswick with the lead. Gee, they seem to have the answers at the moment, North Adelaide. I know they only lead by 2 points, but they've looked good. Certainly confident, and I guess a win over the pace setter in Central District last week will do that for you. Krieg as they slow it down through the corridor. Krieg then short, dangerous. Ivans not 15, called the umpire. Now it goes to Schubert from Krieg, and Schubert lines up, and that's a horrible kick. Didn't give his players a real chance. Alloway below the knees wasn't fantastic, but in the end did all right. Motlop, did he drop it? Play on, called the umpire. Now they crowd in again, and Treby will come away finally with a clean possession for the Eagles.
Finds Inkster, wearing the number 37 this year. He was the game breaker last week against Sturt. Inkster kicked a couple of important goals, got them over the line. Inkster down, looking for McGregor. McGregor can't quite get the handle. Boundary throw in. Inkster was terrific last week, and just to get some game time into him, be interesting to see how Ron Fuller uses him this afternoon.
Yeah, it certainly will be, and it was interesting to see McGregor there, and he had a bit of a go at Inkster for the kick, but McGregor just stood and tried to get him to run the football down the line. But McGregor, if he'd let up a little bit stronger, he would have had that.
Another ball up. 17 minutes gone, first term. North Adelaide by a couple of points. Goals from Damon White for North Adelaide, and Schwarz with that dribbly goal at the 6-minute mark for the Eagles. Pretty tight contest, not high scoring, but been pretty entertaining. And umpire Ralston comes in and crosses the arms and says we'll have another ball up.
Fellas, Damon White having a big quarter, 6 possessions, 3 marks so far.
Yeah, he's been terrific, Chris, hasn't he? He's got his hands on the footy, over the top, good hands. Vince, Jarrett, loves them on the run, got a hook on it. Just went away to the right-hand side, just didn't quite steady himself.
He had a little bit more time than I think he even thought himself, and a beautiful little give to him, and if he straightened up on that left foot, took that little extra split second to steady himself, I think that could have been a goal rather than a point.
Is Ivans 35 metres or so out from his defensive goal, just takes his time. In the end, called a play on. He goes wide and high. Powell at the front. Over the top, Wakeland for North Adelaide. Pull the ball out of there to Spawn, and then Coulter ran forward. He can bounce his way down centre wing and beyond. Fairclough with a good chase. Coulter's kick wasn't the best, but White pulls it in. And White around on the right leg, thumps it long. Perry across the front. Name all over it. And some good work from Alloway, who I'm sure spotted Pedler out of the corner of his eye.
Yeah, good call, Neil. Alloway just with the, look at that, just kept Pedler out of it. That was terrific, wasn't it?
It was a great kick, and right to the top of the square, and Ian Perry should make no mistake with this.
Perry delicately, but nevertheless successfully kicking the goal, and the margin's out to 7 points in favour of the Roosters, and we know they aren't kicking into a slight breeze.
That run by Josh Coulter down the outside wing there, that was just so important for North Adelaide, and if he keeps doing that, then Ron Fuller is not going to be overly happy with Mark Passador, because that is Mark Passador's direct opponent, and if Coulter can keep running off Passador, carrying the football down like that and giving North Adelaide first sight and first use of the football with that real quick movement, then unfortunately the Eagles defenders can't do a hell of a lot about it.
What do you do? Do you put Passador back closer to goal and bring Schwarz out, who's got a bit more pace?
I'm actually surprised that Passador is actually playing forward. I thought they might have used Passador down back and, you know, maybe on one of the tools and release someone else. So we'll have to see what Ron Fuller judges. That's a good grab.
The Laddams kick was marked by Powell. He's an outstanding player, Luke Powell. Underrated, no doubt about that.
Not at the Eagles, though, Michael, I don't think.
Certainly not. Stewart. One of a couple of Stewarts playing for the Eagles. Paul Stewart out injured at the moment. That's a terrible kick. Cicolella has to do something.
Now what, though?
And gets caught. No free kick. Alloway below his knees. Good solid tackle on him. Ball caught underneath. And Zach Hire was the man providing a wonderful tackle. And there's some work being done to Brett White. And still troubled by that hamstring injury.
Looks more like tightness, so if they're still stretching like that, they're not thinking it's a nasty strain, but maybe just a real tightness up into that glute.
Pedler, gee, just fumbled. Colville, the former captain, got it away to Treby. Treby pumps it to McGregor, 2-on-1. He got a free kick, Kenny. He was held by the jumper. They 2-on-1'd him. But McGregor's come out with a free kick, and he's well within scoring distance here. He's about 47 from goal and should get the journey pretty easily.
He should, and it wasn't necessary there by Schubert. He went back. It was 2-on-1. He certainly just tried to help Ken McGregor under the football. But look, it just wasn't necessary. They had the numbers, and unfortunately for North Adelaide, Ken McGregor could make them pay.
Ken McGregor lines them up, kicks from outside 50 and doesn't really get a good piece of it. Doesn't make the distance. See, that's disappointing. Inkster, always clever around goal. Threw himself forward. Vince, Mercurial, round his body. No, tell me he's kicked it. He hasn't. I'll tell you what, he wasn't far away. He can sniff a goal, Bernie Vince.
He certainly can, and with that bit of extra size and bit of bulk, he's a lot better over the football now than maybe what he was in the last couple of years.
6 the margin, Coulter pointing for players to go. And eventually down the line in front of the grandstand, and that was holding. And Simmons, and I think quite rightly, looks up and says, well, I was being held.
I think it was a
arms
case
were
of who
being
was
pinned.
holding who, wasn't it?
Well, you look at that and you say, well, his arms were being pinned by Hart. Experience there from Hart. Now Loney just gets away. Goes with the long, penetrating kick, the half forward. Powell brought it to the front. Dabrowski did the roving, or bad hand pass. Motlop, excellent hand pass into the path of 2. One of them
Well
was
done.
Bamford. Thought he pulled the kick. Oh, I thought he saw Perry.
He certainly
but
did.
The bounce got away.
I said well done a little bit prematurely. He just got a bit too much of that, Bamford, but he was doing the unselfish thing and trying to pass that football to Ian Perry, who was on his own in the square. And just pulled it at the last minute, but got a little bit too much of it and carried it through for the point.
It was brilliant play. I think Perry might have even given him a serve. That was a bit disappointing. But Laddams can't get through. Well done, Hire. Thumps it long to the wing. Getting back, Krieg. Krieg with a handball. Ryswick about to get grabbed. Kept it low. No mark to right. In goes Allen. Spent some time on the bench early. Out to Bamford to keep the last point. On his left. Good looking kick. This time he gets Perry. No complaint about delivery then. And Ian Perry from a difficult angle looks at the goal from about 30 metres.
We see, I think this is the one where Laddams just got one across the chops and he went down. But look, it's good movement by North Adelaide. And if they can keep getting that ball in fast and directly to their forwards, Eagles are going to be, we've said it so many times, they're going to be stretched and they're going to be continually stretched. And going to cause worries for Ron Fuller and his men.
Nobody providing anything short, so Perry's going to go for goal. Sits it up. Has he just drawn it back? I think it's there. Good kick from Ian Perry. He provides a lot to this team, working up forward, and then he can duck back as he does so well and provide something, and Bamford's kick was immaculate.
Yeah, well, he missed him on the last one, so when Perry gave him a little bit of a serve for that, what was, we thought, with excellent play and good option by Bamford, unselfish football. Well, he's hit him that time, and like you said, Michael, Ian Perry couldn't complain about the delivery, and 2 goals is a very good return for Ian Perry at the start, because that was the worry, I think, for Andrew Drummond. Could Ian Perry fit into that forward lineup with Damon White and also Loney?
North going forward again. Krieg high, plenty of tall targets down there. To the front, Uni came off his shoulder. Crashing in was Alloway. Colville did well. Stewart and then Redden was tripped. Umpire saw it. Legs taken from under him. I think it might have been by Wright.
He got paid for
Good
too
call, no.
high as well.
Oh, I think that would have happened. I think if he could get 2 free kicks, he certainly would have got them.
Redden, who did play at North Adelaide before coming to Oval Avenue. Good mark taken by Powell. Wasn't paid. Quickly on Treby into his path. He won his left foot. Instead, he went by hand.
Great
Fairclough
tackle.
was pulled down. Through it, said the umpire.
Wonderful tackle. Motlop's a class act in short and finds Ivans.
It's a great chase and great tackle. Just what you want to see as a coach.
Ivans kicks right at the front. Fiachi with the thump. Higher. Back to Stewart. They're under pressure, the Eagles. North really pushing forward at the moment. High kick. No mark. Inkster was in front. Ivans used Bamford. Bamford to a 2-on-1. Krieg's got plenty to do and Vince takes the mark. Just outnumbered there. Vince above his head. Pretty good. Stewart's provided something on the wing. Further, he's got Dabrowski. Decides to go long to find Schwarz. And he'll get a free kick. Chopping of the arms or over the shoulder against McIntyre. And they tried to duck away. Fairclough's got to give it back to Schwarz. Schwarz about 2 or 3 kicks from goal, you'd think. Kicks, looking for McGregor. He's in front. Can't take the mark. Good effort, though. Ivans clears the area. Only as far as Stewart, who did pretty well on the half volley. Standing start, Jared and McGregor. Can't take the mark. Well done. Here's Inkster. Gets the kick away, but it won't be far enough. Schubert dropped what he should have taken, and Schubert will clear for the Roosters.
Plenty of time to consider. Out to the birthday boy, Motlop, 29 today. On the left foot he goes long. Good kick. McIntyre went back, had a quick glance, knew he had some space. Off to Spawn and then Ryswick, and they won't catch him. He'll get towards 50. He looks inside for Alloway. He just misstepped then, and I thought he might have done something to his leg, but no. Pedler coming across, knocking it out of bounds. Roosters fans on the boundary line, enjoying the afternoon. Beautiful afternoon. So does mention, might be some cloud coming across, but it's a wonderful afternoon for football at the moment. Just about 27 minutes into this opening quarter, the Roosters have done pretty well, leading by 13 points. And they will lead by 13 points at quarter time. Entertaining opening quarter. Perhaps the Eagles not making enough of their opportunities. 1-4-10 playing North Adelaide 3-5-23. It's 13 points the margin at quarter time.
Well, it certainly was an entertaining and interesting first quarter there. North Adelaide having the superior, I guess, height and speed with their movement of football, but height up forward especially, which is hurting the Eagles. We see North Adelaide reasonably happy with that. And Damon White there, one of those men who has given North Adelaide and Andrew Jarman so much up forward. It's a bit of a concern for the Eagles, I think, going forward. Ken McGregor's providing a good option across centre half forward, but he's really wanting the football over his head and kick back into space continuously. And Mark Pastel hasn't had enough of the football for mine, and also up forward, I think Schwartz needs to get involved in the game a bit more.
Yeah, well, plenty to think about for both sides, but 13 points the margin in favour of the visitors, and the Roosters would be very happy, I think, with that opening quarter there. Coach Andrew Jarman, of course, one of 10 to be inducted into the South Australian Football Hall of Fame this week. And Andrew Jarman, well, he's a funny man at any time. Interesting to hear his words on the night, reflecting not on his football career as such, but how he started with his brother in the backyard, his brother Darren, of course, an assistant coach.
To my brother, he's very proud of him. I was wearing Barry Robbins' number back at Holden Hill, number 10. Darren was wearing Russell Ebert's number. Great man, and we'd be playing in the backyard and it'd be 35-degree heat, and we'd have a swimming pool in the middle of our backyard, and Mum would be doing the dishes in the kitchen window. Game was on. We had bamboo sticks as our goals. Sometimes we used our 2 sisters as goalposts. And from time to time we used them as tackling bags. But my little brother just always had this little gift. I had to work hard and at times cheated the system, but Darren, just natural bloody gifted turd that he was, never trained, hardly ever trained, loved the TAB, and would be playing our game of footy every day, week in, week out, and I just got sick of losing, even though I'm a year older. Russell Ebert would smash me. Quarter time, I had to do the old Barry Robin trick, ram him into the old galvanised fence. And guess who was watching in the kitchen window? My mother. It's not nice being rubbed out for 2 weeks. So obviously having 2 young, her sons up here is obviously a great moment for our mother.
Obviously that wasn't a great moment for Andrew Jarman, but Interesting to note here, 2 premierships in the SANFL with North Adelaide and Norwood in 87 and 97, 2 McGarry medals in 87 and 97.
And had a real, I think, point to prove in 97 when he came back from the Crows at Norwood, and he was certainly great to watch run around, and I was in my early days.
And another man who is very much a legend of South Australian football, Ian Day, mostly as a commentator, I guess today's folk would know him as, but of course a player also with West Adelaide and South Adelaide. Interesting to hear what Ian Day had to say on the night.
I remember losing a grand final by 3 points to Port Adelaide after our last kick of the game hit the goalpost and the top of the offending post, finishing on our barbecue at Ken McGregor's home that night, and promising Neil Curley, John Ryan, Jack Richardson and Mick Wunke never to reveal who chopped it down. Sorry, Neil. I remember the first of my many bloopers when Sturt fullback Bruce Jarrett kicked out and I got tangled up with his punt kick. Realisation came quickly and I tapped Blair to take over. Absolutely nothing. Looking round, tears were streaming down his face, and the camera boys couldn't hold the cameras still.
Ian Day retired from broadcasting in 1994, but made a comeback, of course. We had him as a guest in round 15 this year, and as you see, he is very much a legend of the game. South Adelaide Premiership player in 64. I don't think he'd like to be reminded that he was captain of South Adelaide when they were bottom in 1963. Well, as we look through some of the others, Bruce Abernathy, well known, of course, a Port Adelaide legend in so many ways. 7 premierships there, but also AFL football with Collingwood, North Melbourne and the Adelaide Football Club. Jeff Bray from a bygone era, West Adelaide premiership player in 1961. Then on to Scotty Hodges, well known.
More of a modern day player, isn't he? Scotty Hodges, always coming out and giving a good contest at full forward for Port Adelaide, and a legend certainly within the SANFL, best and fairest at the Magpies twice.
Andy McKay, well, he didn't play much for Glenelg, just 40 games for Glenelg, but 244 games for Carlton. A premiership along the way.
And this man, Mark Bickley, we see the picture there with the 2 premierships. That's what he's renowned for, isn't he? The Adelaide Crows premiership captain. Certainly 97 and 98, his 2 fondest memories.
Max Hall, an umpire who became a commentator. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Ken Cunningham, very much of the same ilk, and a pioneer in SANFL football as a commentator on television. John Taylor, again, a player who many in the modern era wouldn't know, but 258 games, quite a record for Westies and Glenelg, 4 state games, and was a captain coach at Glenelg. Kevin McSporran, very much a legend in Port Augusta, although he did play with West Torrens in Woodville. You see there, 190 games. Suffering from Parkinson's disease, I should say, and good luck to Kevin, and let's hope that he recovers well, maybe, from Parkinson's. It's a very hard disease to battle. Sodas down on the boundary line. That was a great night, and it's been a great day so far for North Adelaide.
Certainly has, and Andrew Jarman pretty happy with the way that the Roosters have started. Very positive start. Now, the Roosters love the matchup of Dennis Redden for the Eagles on Damon White. White started very well. He's kicked the goal. They want to continue to use White through half forward. Also, Ian Perry started well with his 2 goals. He's playing on Zach Hire, so they like the way that they're matched up. They expect to see those boys being used a lot more during this particular term. Now, Brett White, the acting captain, we saw he did come off early in that first term. A few problems with the glute. Now, over there, Steve Saunders said he's still about 50-50 to come back. But Brett White is convinced that he's going to be okay and come back. But I think I'd leave it in the hands of the physio. So some chance, perhaps a slim chance, we might see Brett White back in action today.
Yes, you'd think a slim chance, wouldn't you? And, gee, the opening quarter dominated in the air by North Adelaide. If we look through the stats there, we see 33 marks to 11, and that's pretty much, as long as the weather stays like this, I'm sure going to be a trend to continue.
That's right, and that's the real worry for the Eagles. I don't think they're taking enough marks themselves, but also not competing enough in the air and letting North Adelaide really dominate that.
Inside 50s, 14-10 in favour of the Roosters, something that, well, a little bit unexpected into the breeze.
Yeah, that's right, and also the centre breaks there. We see North Adelaide getting on top through the centre. So really, at the moment, maybe North Adelaide unlucky not to be further ahead.
Ready for the start of the second quarter, here's Michael Maney.
Thanks, Neil. And Mark Soderstrom, we might just get you to have a look at Shane Schubert, who just walked off the ground at quarter time to have some work done on a leg. Second term underway. Loney's got Colville, the 223s. Jared just boots it high. Ball thumped away. Schwarz was in there. Simmons taken to the line by Allen.
Michael, no problems at all with Shane Schubert. Just a little change. He started it down in defence. They've pushed Matty Krieg down there now. Schubert just having a break, but he's fine.
Thanks, Mark. Froggy on the boundary. How's the throat?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Getting better. Coming good, like the Roosters.
Good. Loney off the ground. Fairclough just runs onto the footy, then just dive forward. Allen. Ivans just quickly onto the boot. And that'll just trickle out of bounds. So structurally, a little bit of a change up there.
A few changes, that's right, Michael. Like we said, maybe Ron Fuller's got the link up straight through to the coach's box, but Passador's been pushed to full forward, trying to give probably where I think he's going to be very useful for them if he can get on the end of some really strong leads and some good delivery. And also Schwartz up to centre half forward, getting him more involved with the game. So Passador to full forward, I think is a good move by Ron Fuller.
Just gets him closer to goal, and I think he's a little bit more dangerous. And we have another ball up as they sort themselves out.
And he's probably not as mobile as he was a couple of years ago. He used to provide so much across half forward, and that's when he also went back and played a fair bit out of that centre half back or that second sort of centre half back position, and gave him a lot of run. But over the past few years, he's been more a stay-at-home forward, and probably a good move.
Allen from the pinball. It was the ruck contest then. Just couldn't get a kick. Colville did. Got it down to half forward. Bounce for Spawn. Went to the boundary line. I think he knew what was there.
And 3 or 4 times we've seen Ken McGregor just throw the arms up and, you know, shake the head and have a go at someone. And I don't know if it's really the fault of the boys bringing the football down. I think Ken McGregor's actually playing too deep and he's relying upon the football going over his head too much. It's just not going to happen today. He needs to work harder to get up higher on the ground.
And there he is, playing deep, almost took the mark, falling to ground. And Ben Hart taking the ball over the line.
Came off a best on ground performance last week. Ben Hart, he's been a revelation for North Adelaide since coming back from those chronic injuries that he had earlier in the season.
Oh, with the retirement at the end of the season of Mark Rasciuto, he's got 309 games up. He was interested in trying to match it with Benny Hart. That was a throw. Coulter's been pinched. It'll come back and Brody Lomas will take the free kick. And let's...
That's if Laddams doesn't step in and...
No, it'll be a... Colin Ralston spotted that one just as he released it out the back. Coulter, let's have a look.
Oh, there it is.
May have thought it was on the blind side of the umpire, but and he looked around, the head swung around.
And he's actually feigned the handball after that. In the old double-handed handball, there wasn't a right fist in sight.
So Lomas, 8 goals, 12 for the season. Sneaks it home. Good start to the second term for the Eagles.
Well, you love getting those little cheap ones. It's a good tackle. He held onto that arm. And at Coulter, we saw the left-handed flick pass. Brody Lomas himself coming off a best on-ground performance for the Eagles last week. And he's been super for them in the centre. And he's been good today, actually, starting to get a little bit of football out of there. And he'd love getting on the end of, like I said, a little bit of a cheap one there, but a good tackle on Josh Coulter.
Good little player, Lomas. And he's fought some illness over the last couple of years to become a permanent member in the side. Shark by Allen. Wonderful smother. McKenzie uses Lomas. Again, he might bomb it long. He does. Good kick. McGregor just peeled off his man. And when the ball's coming that quickly into the forward line, it's pretty tough for North Adelaide defenders to get anywhere near it.
Well, we saw the stats at quarter time, Michael, with the centre breaks, and we saw that North Adelaide were on top there. Well, it's turned around at the start of this second quarter. Eagles have got the first 2, and that fast movement just makes it so much easier for the big tools for the Eagles to get on the end of it.
Kenneth McGregor from 20. Goal umpire doesn't move. He's got his first. It's back to a 1-point ball game. The Eagles are on the march.
Great smother by McKenzie coming through the centre, using Lomas. Watch McGregor lead back towards the goal square. The kick's actually gone behind him, but because he drifted away from his player, and that's the way Ken McGregor's playing his whole game so far. He's leading backwards every single time, irrespective of the distance between the kicks. So North Adelaide defenders need to be aware of that, need to probably get themselves, and Josh Coulter's the man on him, needs to get himself between the goals and McGregor, and that way he'll stop him leading back into that space.
1 point the margin in favour of the Roosters. Led by 13 just a couple of minutes ago. McKenzie again. Oh, he had possession, just couldn't get it out of there. Jarrod. And now Pedlar.
We'll take him.
And he'll be called to play on straight away because there was no way that even if you added the height and the distance of the kick, it still wouldn't have made 15.
That's right, and well done by Joey Pedalo to take the footy. So many times we see players try and punch it or tap it on or whatever. Just take the football, take what comes, and start again.
Lomas just scrambled the kick forward. Oh, Vince was clever. He almost took it. Now it's still play on, holding the ball. Well, Alloway has gone back defensively. Is it called play on? Advantage? No, it'll come back as Pedler takes the mark inside 50. I think he would have been lining up for career goal number 2.
He was trotting back too. Just off screen. He was trotting back.
So here's McGregor from outside 50, sits it up and passes it all. Just went back with eyes on the ball. And if we get another look, you'll see he didn't really have a direct opponent able to put a body on him.
No, it's well done by Bernie Vince, putting a little bit of a block on there on Spawn and just taking his run, so no way Spawn could get up and make a contest of that. Pass it all backing in, and that's where he's so dangerous, close to goal. He's strong marking, and he's really fast leading. In that case, just the mark required. But again, I think we'll call that a centre break to the Eagles, and that's 3 in a row.
They led for the first 8 minutes, surrendered the lead to North Adelaide at the 8-minute mark, and now they're back in front courtesy of Mark Passador.
That's good coaching by Ron Fuller, getting Passador close to goal, opening that space up. McGregor across half forward, Schwartz across half forward, and then the smalls, the likes of Vince and Lomas when he's coming down and resting that forward line, just really peppering away. And North Adelaide need to go man-on-man here through the centre, stop that direct supply. McKenzie's got the last couple, Lomas has helped out with them.
Mark Soderstrom, we saw Shane Schubert doing some run-throughs on the boundary there, doing some serious work on a leg injury down there with him.
No, I think he's just a little bit tight. Michael reported that at quarter time, but there's no problem. It was all part of Andrew Jarman's plan to have him come off and have a break during that term. So look, I think he is actually okay.
Allen looks for White. He really has the better of Redden at the moment. Like Ben said, he'd like that matchup with Andrew Jarman. White goes long. Perry thumped away by Hire. McKenzie went without it, had to go back and retrieve it. Hands and knees. Good tackle by Perry. Ryswick there. Motlop, how did he get through? Well done by Jared. Jared's handball missed the target in Stewart, so plenty of pressure on. Eagles in attack.
Look at that little fella, Michael. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Day of the footy, your sausage roll with sauce, trying to smear it all over the front of your Eagles jumper.
Good on you, little fella. Give us a grin too at the end. Well done. Little Eagle. O'Hara at the back. O'Hara just gave it to his former teammate in Hire. Smother, well done by Uni. Colville out to Treby. Treby just kicks, looking for Pedler over the back. Spawn, can he get the handle? He did. Had to use O'Hara. O'Hara back to Loney. Loney can kick it from here. On the run. Left footer. It's a good kick. It's there. They use Nathan Loney in the AFL. He just hovers around 50, gets a handball, and this is why.
He's a great release player, Nathan Loney. He's got a fantastic left foot. I mean, if you have a look at the way he kicked that football, it didn't really seem as though he exerted himself too much, and he just laid it down that left foot, and it would have covered the 55 metres. No worries whatsoever, and probably what he would say, if you ask him, I'm sure, about a three-quarter kick. So a great finish, and North Adelaide needed one, and they've got one against the flow there, and that could be important this quarter.
Back in front by a point. Ralston throws the ball up, umpire Colin Ralston. Now North with another centre break here. Uni looking for Motlop, kicked it in the end. Umpire said, play on. Vince at half forward. Half back for the Eagles. Ran to centre, went long. There's McGregor, middle of the pack. McIntyre. Ivans got one high, umpire said play on still. McIntyre again, then Hart, quick hands, Coulter. Now they've got some space. Coulter to half forward. Looking for Ryswick, got rid of his man well, just couldn't take the ball. White couldn't take it either. Redden looked forward. Long hand pass, hit and hope. Fairclough. Now it's about 4-on-1 here. McKenzie, the odd one out, and he did well. He didn't give away a free kick. And now his reward is to go off the ground. Back behind play, there are problems for the Eagles, and Simmons is hobbling badly. So we'll keep an eye on that. Just to the edge of left of screen there, just inside the centre square. Simmons struggling. Krieg is his opponent.
Yeah, he's very proppy. He'll be looking to get off as soon as this bit of play goes. He'll be looking to try and hobble off, but no, he takes off after Krieg, and there's a 25-metre penalty against Powell, and O'Hara comes in and remonstrates with his former mate and teammate.
I'll tell you what, Matty Krieg doing the perfect thing there too. He's taken Simmons to the far side of the wing. He's made him chase him all the way over there.
Oh, it's going to be 50 by the look of it.
It's a good 50 too. Watch Loney.
Yeah, he tried to give it to Loney, young Wright. Hasn't been around long, but he knows what to do. Good kick.
Good strong grab.
Alloway takes a strong mark. He is a monster. He is Clint Alloway.
Simmons coming off down there, Sodas.
Yeah, look, he's in a fair bit of trouble. Matty Krieg tried to get him away, but Simmons has finally found the boundary line. Tim Inkster, now Tim Inkster last week, Ron Fuller wanted to ease him in after missing a lot of footy with a hamstring. With injuries to shoulder, he was forced to play him a lot more. It looks like it could happen again today.
Alloway just pushed it to the right. Who can take a mark? No one. It just drifts away and just scrapes in for a behind. And it's a 2-point ball game. Yeah, North Adelaide lead by 2 points, and there's Dale Simmons having a look at that ankle problem.
Well, we've got the contest we're after, boys.
They take their time, the Eagles, bringing the ball in. Redden wide out on his left leg. Goes down the line. Treby and White surely would. Well, it looked like he came from the front, and he might have looked around at the last minute. Treby, he released the ball forward again. Lux of Fortune had found Vince. I don't think he met it. Vince breaks towards the corridor, then gave it off to Powell, then back to Vince. Vince gave it inside. Dangerous hand pass. Schwarz was taken to ground. Did excellently to get it out. So did Sikalella. Now Powell looks for Sikalella inside field. Passador, I should say, inside 50. Passador taken to ground. Powell. Gee, the pressure's on, isn't it? Sikalella. He holds it in and he does well in the end.
That was really good, honest football from both teams there. It's just contest after contest. The kick and the contest in the air by Passador was great. And on the ground by the North End Eagles players was just what we'd expect.
One coach on the phone, one doing some scribbling. Bamford, good handball to Allen. Allen's kick looking for White. Redden did pretty well. And roving it brilliantly was Stewart. Stewart got the kick away, and good vision too. That's a wonderful kick, James Stewart.
In the middle.
And the man in the middle is Jarrett. That's a horrible kick. I don't think it was meant for him, but it went to him.
It was very middle.
Ugly kick by Powell, but it found the target. Jarrett, high kick. McGregor trying to work into the contest. Who can win it at ground level? Here's Lomas on his right.
That's great.
Wonderful kick by Lomas. Hits the post. Oh, here's a clever little player at ground level, Brody Lomas, and with his right boot, just skimmed the behind post.
Just
the
how
goal post.
fast he was onto that. The ball was there and he had to get rid of it. There was 3 North Adelaide players coming towards him, and that ball at the last minute took that little deviation. But a great crumb and very fast use of the football.
Tell you on the evidence so far, that could be the difference. That bounce of the ball could just be the difference between the two sides this afternoon. The Eagles in 4th position, North Adelaide in 3rd. They're only a few weeks out from the finals.
And don't forget Neil with that, Glenelg too, sniffing, cracking at their heels, so only 1 game behind.
Lomas going over the mark unnecessarily. Wasn't in the contest, then came in and went over the mark. So Spawn got 25. Now, the Eagles have all retired ahead of the ball now in order to go defensive. Redden did well to get it down. Stewart through traffic, and then not the greatest of kicks.
How do you like it?
Schwarz will just stand under it and then get thumped. Coulter couldn't get through the tackle. Motlop had the presence, realised he had a little bit of a break, and then set it up perfectly for White inside 50. Gee, that was good. Motlop could have released that ball, and he had that 6th sense. Well, there's nobody on me. I'll take a step or two and steady.
Absolutely, and just you know, an experienced head and a smart mind, and put the football in the right spot. Why wouldn't you? And this man's been on fire today.
So White from 49 starts at left, coming back. Oh, great kick. Big finish by Damon White. His second of the afternoon, a quality finish from the forward.
There it is with Motlop. We saw him ready to kick. No one on me. Obviously got the voice from behind as well. Took the extra couple of steps. Hit White. And look, he has been very dangerous.
Ben, it's interesting the way Redden's playing him now. If White can move around and get on the lead, he'll get a fair bit of the footy because Redden's playing off him because he can't strengthen him. And he's just playing a yard or two off him and he's trying to run and spoil.
Spot on. When the ball comes down more slowly or when the ball's coming in from great height, Redden can have that stop and jump at it. And that's how Redden's getting his better footy. But like you said, when White can run around, move around, lead, that's where Redden's going to be caught out.
9 disposals, 6 marks so far, boys.
Yeah, he's been terrific. 6 marks, yeah, 7 kicks, 2 handballs, 2 goals, 1, Damon White.
Most of those marks within the forward 52, so that's even better.
Spot on. Spawn. He's got the kick to the wing. Stewart was there. Oh, desperation. Brilliant by Motlop. Handball by Ryswick. Here's Loney on his right boot. He has kicked another one. Right foot, left foot. We've seen some wonderful non-preferred kicking in the last couple of weeks. We saw Jared kick a wonderful right footer and he's a natural left footer. But have a look at this from Loney.
And a great handball there from Bamford. You saw the one that Perry's running inside of him. Rather than giving the first use to the bloke running right alongside of him, he's given the one over the top into a little bit more space, a little bit more time. Perry's then able to put a shepherd on. Loney finishing on the right foot and beautiful skills on the left and right. Bit of a conference down there on the boundary line though, Siders.
Yeah, plenty of action going on down here. Now, I can tell you that Dale Simmons has had his left ankle re-strapped. He's just running up and down the boundary line now, checking to see how that is. Brett White's back moving around, and also Shane Schubert. They just had a little bit of a look at his hamstring there, and all just trying to work out whether any or all of those 3 players can return.
Well, finally admitted Shane Schubert does have a problem. That was brilliant from Hart. Off to Loney. He knew that there was a player coming. He pulled up. Gave it back to McIntyre. In a bit of space, decides just belt it long. They do have height in the forward line. They'll need a crummer now. They don't have one. And the Eagles bring it away. Treby at half back. Now Treby just takes his time. There's no tall target in front of him. And so he chips wide for Colville. Testimonial coming up for Gavin Colville tonight. Goes down the line. Inkster ducked their head. Krieg looked disgusted. Play on advantage. Ken McGregor looking for Passador. Did well. Picked it up. Back to McKenzie. Then Passador again. Set it up nicely. Vince opposed to Ryswick. Ryswick did well. Got it away from him towards the boundary line. Now Ryswick opposed to the pace of Fairclough and the experience of Hart. Oh, interesting.
Great tackle.
Cicarella ran him down, and umpire's going to call it back and say he didn't dispose of it correctly, and Cicarella will get the free kick. He wanted to play on quickly,
Passador.
And Passador doesn't make it, and now they'll get away with it, North Adelaide.
Laddams found Krieg. Coulter, this kick to Wakeland, and he stretches and takes a nice mark, Wakeland. Doesn't take many marks. Loney, exquisite skills. Ivans, Krieg. Desperate lunge by Cicarella. The Krieg kick was high, over the back. Ryswick, ridden to the ground by Jarrett. That was fair. Perry squeezes the kick inside 50, looking for Uni, who's been quiet. Here's Lomas. Got the kick away to Jarrett. Jarrett's handball. Fiacci overran it. This allows Wright. Got to get round Jarrett and does so. Good calm play by a young player. Alloway gives everyone a thump and a nudge. Flicks over the back and he can't take advantage of it. A big heave-ho by Alloway there as Passador makes his way off, and miraculously Simmons, he's had a proton pill, Sodas.
Not bad. He's actually moving pretty well, isn't he? He was in a fair bit of trouble when he did limp off, but re-strapped and a bit of spray, and he looks to be moving okay. He's been picked up by Josh Coulter now, Dale Simmons.
We've had music trivia in the past, now cartoon trivia, a proton pill.
Roger
Ramjet, that's right. I was trying to think what it was. Thanks for that, Michael. Powell away at half-back towards centre wing. Vince out-muscled in the end by Spawn, got it away from him. It's a little tap there from teammate Ryswick. Ball to come back into play as soon as the boundary umpire can control it.
So Simmons came on, tried to take Calder down to the goal square. But then Schwartz has come off the bench and gone straight to full forward, and Simmons has gone back up to half forward. So McGregor playing a lone hand at centre half forward now, and Shaw's down to full forward instead of Passador.
Maloney standing over the ball. It's almost like a bit of soccer. The ball's still in there. Still in there. Still in there. Come on, umpire. Eventually he comes in there, and as we go into time on, 13 points the margin in favour of North Adelaide. It's not that cold, surely. Roosters fans all rugged up. Wakelin and Dabrowski probably had the better of that, and the ball will be null and void. We'll get another one. Another ball up, another stoppage. Let's watch and see what the Eagles do. See if they go for third man up here. No, Ruckman go at it again, and Wakelin was held back according to the umpire. He's having a good afternoon. Here's Wakelin. Released the handball straight away to Allen. Inside half forward, in front of Perry, not the greatest of kicks. And Perry with a glance back at his teammate. Don't blame him.
And Redden's gone over onto Perry as well, so a little bit of reshuffling from Rod Fuller down back.
Yeah, well, they probably need to do something with Damon White, just in a bit of a reshuffle.
But with Redden, I guess he's giving up height, isn't he, to both of those, both Perry and White.
Pretty tough on him. Allen. Kick looking for Bamford. Runs onto the footy. Normally kicks well. Out in front of Uni. Needs a kind bounce. Uni on his left. It won't get through. Brilliantly played by Redden. Handball. Uni. Opportunist. Normally kicks them. Can't get one here.
I'll tell you what, Mikey, we know that Damon White's fighting for his AFL career, because every single time he can make a contest, every time he has to chase, he is doing 110%. And he is keen as mustard to impress today.
You reckon he's in a bit of trouble there?
I don't think he's in trouble in terms of his AFL spot, but I think he's keen as mustard to get back with Port Adelaide and hopefully playing a couple of finals with them in the AFL this year.
Fiachi, long outside 50. Wakelin was held out of it. Eagles players in the end spoiled each other. Motlop just showed it. Then he gave it to Uni. He should kick it, surely. Heath Uni kicks a goal. Oh, gee, that was clever from Motlop. They all ran away from him.
He is mercurial, and we've seen that, I don't know how many times, 4 or 5 times already today, that little touch from Daniel Motlop that has really impressed. That weave through there, the handball to advantage, and Uni with the excellent finish, but we saw it before as well, the handball over to Bamford, and so many opportunities. When Motlop gets a hold of it, we just hold our breath and hope that we're going to see something special, and more times than not we do.
5 and 6 to Motlop, and Uni just about 6 possessions, been a little bit quiet, but gee, you allow him any space inside 50 normally, and he's a wonderful shot for goal. He missed one earlier, then the radar was set. Krieg. It's out to 20 points now in favour of North Adelaide. Spawn finds Bamford on the wing.
He's been important to them too, Bamford, after coming off the bench at the start of the game.
Has been good. Inkster can't get it. Uni got a push in the back, and he'll get a free kick. Long way from goal. Motlop wanted to go on with it. One here, Ben.
Here's the second one, and the dive straight in the middle of the back.
Perry leads, can't take the mark. Well done, Fiachi. Jared, Eagles out of trouble. Long punishing kick by Jared, but Ivans will be first there. He really had to stretch. Now they've opened him up. Trying to go to the fat side of the ground, will they or not? They won't switch. He'll go down the corridor. He'll go to half forward. Perry takes a lovely mark. Set himself. Called to play on. He's in trouble. Ian, you've dropped it. Wonderful tackle by his Crows teammate in Bernard Vince. Wobbly old kick. Lomas, well done by Krieg. Had a height advantage. Simmons, this will test the ankle. Goes to ground. Lomas wants to find touch, and Bamford helps him there. Ball in.
Oh, it's great to see Ian Perry after taking that specky. Obviously getting a bit of lip down there. I've seen him give one to Mark McKenzie. He also gave one to Lee Treby. And he was unhappy about getting tackled there from behind, but it's good to see a bit of fire in the belly.
Magnificent rove by Fiachi. Goes for Schwartz long, and early was Coulter. and badly done, according to the umpire.
Was it the hands on the shoulder that he paid, or was it just the jump in the back? I think it could have been that left hand.
Hands in the back.
I think that left hand on his shoulder. I think that's what the umpire's pinged him for.
Well, I think one way or the other, he did take Schwarz out of the contest, didn't he?
He certainly did, but look, I'd hate to see the defender not being able to have a jump at the footy.
However, got the hand in the back, you're in trouble. Schwarz keeps it low and sneaks it home. Oh, and now Coulter's put him down.
He'll get another one there.
Straight after that, Coulter's put him down. He didn't like whatever was said. And it's on. I wouldn't be surprised if the free kick in the middle, the umpire hasn't said anything yet. We'll just have another look at the goal. And then, yeah, Schwarz said a few words, and then he ran at Coulter, who said, well, I might as well put you down on your backside. Now, the kids watching from Salisbury High School, where Josh Coulter is a teacher, I don't imagine that's how he'd want the kids to react to a burgle in the playground.
Yes, these are grown-ups.
That's right, wait till you're older, kids.
Free kick in the centre. Dabrowski's given it away to O'Hara. And big man in O'Hara gets the free kick. They all settle themselves down. There's plenty happening off the ball that we can't see. Been given to Ivans. Ivans punishing kick. Laddams and McKenzie. Laddams has had no influence on this game so far, and he's on a quality opponent, McKenzie. Ball's gone out of bounds and will be thrown back in. Joey Pedlar's the man who's got Damon White at the moment. A little bit of extra height.
Bit of a four-way shuffle there, Michael, with the defenders. As you mentioned there, Damon White now has Pedlar, Hire has Alloway, McKenzie, Perry and Redden a little more comfortable on Matthew Wright.
Yep.
I think that's a lot better too, Siders.
It's a bit better in the structure there. Jared ran out of real estate.
Tell you what,
takes him there.
Michael, the crowd's also hotting up very nicely now, just in front of the stand here. The Eagles group versus the North group. So plenty of spirit on the field and also off the field.
Ledham's 5 kicks, 3 handballs so far.
So Laurie Colliver with a couple of his kids. That'll be funny, Laurie. I'll speak to you during the week. In hard was Sikalella. Sikalella over the top finds Colville. Colville's kick finds Vince. Vince has looked dangerous every time he's got near the football. This time he looks for McGregor, who can't take the mark. Well done, Bamford, got a hand on it. Hancock one high from Treby. Had to earn that one, Scotty, and he did. And he'll take the free kick from half-back. Let's have a look. Right across the right shoulder there.
He's an unlikely looking footballer. We say it probably 2 or 3 times a year, but gee, he puts his head over the footy, Scotty Bamford, and he gets a lot of the ball and he can really damage you off that wing.
Important decision there to go to O'Hara because it drew Dabrowski, made him accountable, drew him out of the forward 50. Now Alloway. He bombs it along. Lots of numbers there, and in the middle of them, Damon White was the strongest. Gee, North Adelaide had some numbers there. McIntyre had drifted down from defence. There was White, and let's have a look. Perry as well.
White, Perry and McIntyre. Someone needs to go out and tell McIntyre that he probably doesn't need to jump against Perry and White.
He got one in the right buttock there too, Damon White.
Where exactly was it, Michael?
The right-hand side of his buttock.
Right.
I don't know that he's got a half a dozen buttocks, but...
So Damon White lining up for goal number 3 to take the margin back to 20 points, close to half-time. We've ticked over 29 minutes, and Damon White kicks his 3rd of the afternoon, and the Roosters have a good break on the Eagles, and they will take a good break into half-time.
Well, that is just a sensational pack mark from Damon White. We saw him run at least 20-25 metres there. He's jumped cleanly. We saw McIntyre coming in against the flight. But apart from that, I think what Ron Fuller will be a little bit disappointed with that contest is that not enough of the Eagles boys are getting up in the air and getting first hands on the football. So maybe being a little bit too reactive at the moment in defence.
It's 5 goals, 2 in this term to North Adelaide. 4 goals, 1 to the Eagles. And Inkster's in hard on the football.
And keep in mind too, Michael, sorry to interrupt, how dominant the Eagles were in the first 5 or 6 minutes of this quarter.
That's true, Ben. They really did look good early, but North have steadied. Out the back, Simmons, free kick. It's got to come back. It'll go to Motlop, who uses Loney. Loney to Bamford, another stat for him. Really racking them up today. Scotty Bamford in short, Ivans in front of Lomas. Gradual build-up from North Adelaide. Ticked into 30.5 minutes second term. We've had 9 goals kicked in the second term. Shouldn't be too much longer to go. Kick to looking for Perry. Perry got a hand on it. That was clever. Got it down to Uni. Uni's kick smothered. Taken by Passadors, working back. High up and under kick over the back. That's a good mark. It's been taken by Simmons, who looks like he's running okay there now. The Eagles desperately need a goal to take into half-time. Hart with a flight of the ball. Got a good shepherd. Then kicked a long torpedo, but it'll go out of bounds in the full. And the Eagles, last gasp, you'd think, Neil.
Closing in on half-time. 31 minutes have gone in this quarter. Here's Passador, and as you mentioned, then a good kick, but a great reach. Now Jared flanks him, and on the siren, lets it go. And it wouldn't have counted anyway, but it was marked by Josh Coulter down there. So at half-time, perhaps a decisive break for North Adelaide after the Eagles kicked a couple early in the quarter to get back in front by 5 points. At half-time, it's North Adelaide 8-7-55, lead the Eagles by 20 points, 5-5-35. Benny Knights, just take us through those goal kickers to the half-time break.
Well, the influence that the AFL boys have had, we can see there with Damon White 3 and Ian Perry 2 and Nathan Loney also 2. For the Eagles, the only multiple goal scorer there was Schwartz in that first quarter. We need a bit more from Mark Passador.
Absolutely. We look through those stats. The inside 50s have favoured North Adelaide. We probably expect that, but the marking contest still remains very much the domain of the Roosters.
Certainly do, and the Roosters are dominating across the board in terms of their possessions. It's interesting that the Eagles are actually a very low possession getting. They're actually 9th in the league this year with possession, so they're not getting a lot of the football today. The centre breaks, again, going North Adelaide's favour, even though the Eagles would have got a few back on them at the start of that quarter.
And Knights, he just mentioned, so does the influence of the AFL players. There are quite a few out there. It's a pretty talent-laden ground this afternoon.
It certainly is. We talked about them at the start of the game and said they will be influential. They certainly have. Damon White, perhaps the pick of them so far. He's been terrific. I think he's had kicked 3 goals, had 8 kicks and 7 marks, and gone through a couple of opponents there. Looking good, certainly trying to play to get back in. Here's Nathan Loney. He kicked 2 goals that term for the Roosters. He's moving the ball very nicely. Bernie Vince, as well, has been getting a little bit of the ball, moving it through the centre for the Eagles, has been prominent as well, which would keep the Crows very happy. Kenny McGregor had his moments. He's taken a couple of grabs, but he did end up sitting on the bench late in the second half there. And Ian Perry also a couple of goals. He's been pretty good, and we saw 7 of the 8 goals that the Roosters have kicked have been kicked by their AFL players, so they're certainly doing a good job, and they are probably the difference between the two sides, because obviously North have got 1 extra, and they certainly have been benefiting well. Now, in terms of injuries, well, Dale Simmons is good. We saw that he rolled his ankle for the Eagles. Restrap went out there, he was fine. He's moving along okay. Brett White hurt, well, the top of his hamstring up around his glute. He probably won't be risked now. I think North Adelaide are a little cautious not to do anything with him in this second half, so he'll probably pack the stumps up for the day. Shane Schubert copped a knock on his hamstring in the first quarter. Not too bad at all, so they are confident he will return. And James Allen's had a wonderful year. His first year here with the Roosters. Been running himself sick, literally. He's thrown up a couple of times at half-time, but he's had 13 touches on the way to his average of 26, 27, whatever he's getting at the moment. So he's looking good. The Roosters certainly on top in the Battle of the Birds at the moment.
Thanks for that, So. Just quickly around the ground, Sturt by 33 points over Port Adelaide at Albert, and a combination of a Sturt victory and a Eagles loss would virtually assure Sturt of the double chance in second position. Norwood by 20 points over West Adelaide, also an important victory for the Redlegs this afternoon. Just about set for a start to the second half. Here's Michael Maney.
Can the Eagles continue on and fight back in this match? They're on a bit of a roll at the moment, games won. But they've got some work to do here. They trail by 20 points. North Adelaide have been good so far. Lindsay down to the former captain in Gavin Colville, who bounces 1 to half forward. McGregor, Sikalella, just tried to release to Simmons. Good to see him back and running on top of the ground at the moment after that scare in the second term with that ankle injury. Umpire Rouston calls for the ball.
The Eagles need the first couple of goals this quarter if they're going to get themselves back into this game. North Adelaide obviously looking to push further ahead and really put their dominance on this game through this third quarter.
Mackenzie thought about using Jared, but just went alone with his left boot. It'll work out okay because Treby gets it back to Jared. Jared's kick. That's a wonderful kick. And Vince just needs a kind bounce and needs to bounce up to him. Goes with a left footer. Could have straightened on the right. Goes to the top of the square. Over the back. Well done by Coulter, who got it to Spawn. He had some work to do to Motlop. Good pressure by the Eagles, but Coulter put the afterburners on, then got the handball away to Laddams, then Laddams back to Spawn, Loney, wonderful kick, and McIntyre didn't have to break stride. In fact, it's Hart. Hart didn't have to break stride, then kicks to Alloway. Oh, that's a good bit of a transition from the Roosters. Then the Alloway kick was a bit scrubby. Redden tackled and nailed by Perry, got it away well enough to Pedler, who got it to Stewart. A frantic bit of play, and Stewart finds his man on the outer side in Fairclough.
Got Jared loose at half forward.
Kick this.
Can get towards 50. Bang, he goes from 50. Long kick, and he's astray. He could kick it, Benny, but not straight.
But did not, and that's right, he made the distance and probably had an extra 3 or 4 metres. Motlop zoned off and then made the decision at the last minute to go and get across to him. But yes, they needed that, the Eagles.
Couple of behinds to Luke Jarrod this afternoon. Drifts forward and does a pretty good job. Coulter has been in good form too. To another man who's been doing all right in Bamford. We'll go to Chris Kendall in a moment for some of the top ball winners. We might do it right now, Chris. Some of the top ball winners in the first half.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Luke Jarrod leading on the ground with 15 for the Eagles. Vince 10, Colville 9 for North Adelaide. Allen and Motlop 13. Ryswick, Ivans, Loney 12 apiece.
They creep up on you sometimes. Ryswick with about a dozen, but he's been pretty consistent that first half of footy. Colville rove the ruck, ends up with Jarrod. Heaves the kick to half forward. Wonderful vision and excellent on his right. Treby goes long at the back. Coulter over McGregor. Well judged. That's a lovely mark by Coulter, who is just getting better as the game goes on.
Allen picked it up well. Bamford, now Coulter again. On his left leg, can belt long for Motlop. It won't get there. Jared sits at the front bravely. He can square it. He decides not to instead. Good selection inside 50. Cicolella by himself. And this, I'd fancy, may even test his distance. He's not the greatest of long kicks, Justin Cicolella.
No, he's a very good kick though, and he'll, I think he'll definitely get the accuracy. It's just, like you said, whether or not he can take that journey. But I'd back him in from here. He's got a slight breeze behind him. And I think he will make the distance from around about 42 metres.
Enjoys his time against North Adelaide, picking up 3 McGarry votes in round 9 last season. Gets under it a bit. The accuracy's there, though. That old adage again, you only need to get the distance. Doesn't matter how far you kick it past the goals.
Never in doubt, Crossy, that's right. It's Josh Coulter there, who I'm sure Andrew Jarman wouldn't be overly happy with. He'd be very happy with his first effort and that mark over the top of the man in McGregor coming back. But just the disposal coming out of defence. On 2 occasions there, Coulter's missed the short kick first of all, got the football back, and then the kick across to a 2-on-1 that was snaffled by Bernie Vince. That's probably not the way North Adelaide would be like to use the footy out of their defence.
The captain's 5th goal of the season. And come at a pretty timely time as well, with it back to 13 points. Have all the running. Ron Fuller on the right and Andrew Jarman, the old specs on the left there. Motlop on the end of this. Kick. Oh, Alloway nearly took it. Oh, wonderful roving by Wright. It's a good young player, ridden into the ground. No free kick. He's over the football. He'll get a free.
Now he's got one.
Well, the umpire saw it, ran it over in his mind, and then decided, oh yeah, it's a free kick.
Didn't give the first one, and then almost chucked his whistle trying to get the second one out there. So didn't give that, and then gave it about there.
Yeah.
It was a strange decision. So quite well rounded up, and looking at it from that angle, I mean, we had the benefit of a nice low camera angle, but he did reasonably well there not to get straight into his back.
The runner getting in pretty close there, giving him a rev up, young Wright.
The quick reply here for North Adelaide would be great.
Well, he's booted 7 goals in a couple of games, and he's about 45 out, and he's pushed that way to the right, and it's a behind. So 14 points the difference. The Eagles pushing hard, and the Roosters could have done with a little steadier there from right.
In fact, it's just the second point he's kicked in his very short career, just his third game. 7 goals, 2 for Matt Wright. Hart got rid of his man. Oh, then he was in trouble, threw it. He threw it. Is this advantage to Sikalala? No. It'll come back all the way back about 30 metres to Treby. Now Simmons has run on and he's loose, and they haven't picked him up. Yes, they have now.
Lomas should keep going.
Lomas made a tentative lead, and now Schwarz on the lead. He dropped it. Allen's hand pass was loose. McIntyre was in there. Did he get one in the back? Umpire prepared to let it go on and on and on, and they battle for the ball, and eventually they'll get a ball up.
And probably well umpired too there, Neil, because if he was going to do anything there, the umpire probably would have had to pay holding the ball, but he did well to let that ball go. It almost came out.
Lomas screwed it to the goal face. Was McGregor holding? Coulter decides rush it through. Safety first.
So good work there by Coulter. Back to 13 points the difference. Loney, he was off. Umpire called it that way. Ivans used Krieg, and then back to Coulter. So Coulter's kicks high. There's 2-on-1. Allen's at the front. Lomas with not
get on to Wackman here if he can.
And he did pretty well too. That's a pretty good 25-metre, I think, from Brody Lomas, because Ben Hart had run on and he just stopped Allen from getting it to him. But then up bobs McIntyre on his own on the wing. The kick, probing, big pack of players. I thought Perry got the better of that, just knocked it down. Treby with plenty of pace. Kicks to a half-forward line with McGregor, who judges it well. He's got an open goal square as Kenny, and he goes for it. Is it straight? You bet. McGregor kicks his second of the afternoon, booted one in the second term. Now he's got 2, and the Eagles get that little bit closer. It's 9 points the difference.
It was interesting to see North Adelaide there on their way forward, that they're almost becoming a bit too reliant on the big grab from the Perry and the White. So they've bombed away to just inside the 50, which was a contest of monumental proportions, about 8 or 9 players all going up for the ball. The ball spilt free. North Adelaide, with that kick, then backed themselves going forward, and the Eagles boys had sat off nicely and had the return of the football, and away we go. We've seen open goal square and Kenny McGregor getting on the end of it.
Laconic, I think you'd say, Kenny McGregor, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But why not when you've got the finish like that and you're taking a nice grab and trying to get noticed? Take your time with the footy.
Sikalala out of the middle. Vince, hands in front of the face was good. Passador gives him a lead. Vince honours it, but too far. McGregor at the back knocked it down. And North Adelaide get away through Ivans. I think he wanted the boundary line. He won't get it. Treby has an opportunity. Tackled by Bamford. Wait on it. Ball in, calls the umpire.
Neil, an interesting kick by Bernie Vince, because he saw Passador lead. It was though he kicked to him, but he kicked about 3 or 4 seconds too late, and he's kicked it straight to the goal square where McGregor couldn't get there, and Passador led up, so had to back into it. It's just a strange decision by Bernie Vince.
I'm guessing it might be learned decision out of his time with Adelaide in the AFL. That's what you expect, somebody to be doubling back behind. Now that ball's just bounced out of bounds around 10-15 metres around from the Eagles' goal. They are certainly making a good start to the second half. 7 points the margin. Ron Fuller disappointed in something you saw him pointing out there.
As they did in the second, starting very well. It's just the so far today we haven't been able to see them run the quarters out. So North Adelaide getting 4 or 5 goals to finish a quarter, whereas Eagles have been getting on the first 2 or 3.
Over the back it goes from Lindsay. Fairclough couldn't handle it, but he did burn off his opponent in Krieg.
Good Shepherd.
Now to Inkster, straighten on the left. It won't come back, it won't make the distance. Passador is there, so is Lomas. From the angle out on the full, no. Gee, it hasn't even got out in the full. As you were, wasn't that where the ball was thrown in about 20 seconds ago?
Let's reload, exactly right.
Tried to get some check side on it there, Lomas, but had to release pretty quickly. Hurried the kick and Another setup for the Eagles.
Just side, no check.
Yes, a lot of side, no check. Yep. Lindsay could have taken it out of the ruck, down to Lomas. He'll have another crack at it. And he'll put it out of bounds the other side, will he? Coulter. So Brody Lomas going from pocket to pocket. Ben.
One to each side and maybe one in the hole, hey?
I think he's the man they need to watch now because he's put a couple to either side. Look out. Third time lucky for Lomas. Lindsay got it down. Down to Lomas. Here he is. Oh!
Third time lucky. How beauty.
Doesn't often work like that.
How good is it when it does work? One across that way, and surely we call it. The next one through the middle, and like you said so well, Michael, he's the man to watch. He's had 2 clearances on the third, doesn't stuff around with it, just puts it straight through the middle, and the Eagles are back here. 1 point the difference, and what a ball game we've got. Remember, we're playing for that double chance. And third spot in the ladder.
And back in the middle, immediate free kick to North Adelaide. Allen got it from O'Hara, belted it to half forward. Perry waited on the bounce. Now he tracks it towards the boundary line. Got one in the back. I think that was black letter law, that one.
O'Hara didn't put much on him, and Ian Perry did everything to make sure the umpire knew that he got a slight touch in his back.
Kicks to the pocket, White surrounded. Stewart did well. Now he ducks back on the right foot, clears the area. Perry will go at the back, he will. And then they tap it further. Lomas, the dangerous Lomas, released it nicely. They'll get it down inside the forward 50 again. Fairclough took a couple of bounces. Passador on the lead. Lovely mark. He waited and then he made the lead at the right time, Mark Passador.
That's Passador's strength. He's got really good burst speed, so he's that first 10 or 15 yards where he's very, very quick. He's got a lovely set of hands. He needs to finish this. Keeping in mind, he has kicked a number of goals this year. He's kicked 29 before this in just 9 games.
Leading goal kicker for the club in 3 of the past 4 years, who spent the past month in reserves, though. Mark Passador lines it up, kicks it true. And they're in front, the Eagles. First time since early in that second quarter.
They keep doing it, though. We've said it every single quarter. They were up at the start of the game. They were up in the first 5 or 10 minutes of that second quarter. Now they're up again at the 13-minute mark of the third. They can't lighten off now. They've got to keep going forward, the Eagles. They look very quick. They look very damaging when they go forward. Paul Lindsay's been extremely important to them out of the ruck. He's been giving them first use.
4-2 to a behind. The Eagles have put the foot down. Loney can't get through. And just as the ball pops out the back, the umpire blows the whistle and calls for a ball up.
Michael, a change by Andrew Jarman just up front there, where he's actually taken Damon White off. He's had a spell. He's had McKenzie actually to start this third term. So White's gone off for a spell. Shane Schubert, who did have that knock on the hamstring, he's gone back to full forward. And Ron Fuller's just rethought his matchups. Pedler's gone back to Alloway, which is the way they started. And Hire was with Perry.
Thanks, Mark. Here's Powell. Eagles go forward again. Long kick. Passador. He'll get a free kick. For a bit of jumper tugging.
And 25.
Just Coulter blows his stack. He's fuming. He needs a funnel or a chimney. Or chimney.
As we said before, kids. Don't worry about what Mr. Coulter's doing out there. He's trying his hardest, kids.
Passador's kicked his third. And they're happy about it. They're on a roll. They're out by 11 points. Amazing transition. North led by 20 points at half-time. And the Eagles have booted 5 goals, 2 to a behind. And they're out by 11 points. What a start to the third term.
What a start. Ron Fuller's obviously given the rev up. You see the free kick there. It was a chop on the arms that the umpires paid against. Coulter mouthing off then, and Mark Passador making no mistake from point-blank range. Kicking his second in a minute and a half. Putting the Eagles further in front, and can they stretch this advantage?
Josh Coulter, reserves McGarry medalist 5 years ago. Not as popular these days with the umpires. Certainly not this afternoon. Eagles go forward again. Hart across half back. did well. The toe-poke kick wasn't the greatest. Went out of bounds straight at centre wing. Andrew Jarman sits back and thinks this is what happened last week. Centrals came back and then we came back again. Do we have the answers? Ronnie Fuller. I think he's had the answers thus far in the tactical nous.
Be interesting now, Neil, to see how Brad Dabrowski goes in rugby, because I really think Paul Lindsay's been giving them first use, whereas Dabrowski today probably not as dominant as he was last week.
Sikalala, back play to Fiachi, high to half forward McIntyre, opposed well by McGregor, Lomas, brilliant rove, just couldn't finish it. Maybe this is starting another trend for Lomas. He'll get the ball from the kick in, and then maybe the third time.
It couldn't work so beautifully again, could it?
Well,
but gee, Brody Lomas is great.
They kicked it near him.
Well, that's right, almost. He's just so good on the crumb, though, Brody Lomas. He reads the footy so well. He gets front and centre. He's so quick from hand to foot as well. And look, he's been very damaging for the Eagles so far this start of this quarter.
Wright takes an eternity and then kicks high. McGregor's in the box seat here. Can't take the mark. Perry went down. Free kick in the back goes to Ivans. In fact, it's Uni. Uni to Coulter. Coulter in, board to centre and finds Spawn. Spawn looks to Alloway. Did some shoving and then took the two grabber and then gets a free kick paid against him for a push. Nothing going the way of the Roosters at the moment. Alloway reluctantly throws it back to Pedlar, who gives it to Colville. Colville's short kick, too far for Treby, but Fairclough was there. Fairclough squeezed it out to the man of the moment in Lomas. He's not far enough close to goal to kick one. Taken by Inkster. Inkster back to
Space
Hire.
again.
Hire to Passador. Oh, he's got a grin from ear to ear, Mark Passador.
I'll tell you what, he hasn't. I don't think he'd say that he's had the best of first halves. He's been well held all morning. He spent a little bit of time on the pine. He's had those 4 weeks in the twos coming back from that knee injury, but he's such a good footballer. And the problem with Mark Passador, you get the confidence up and he just tears you apart.
And the runner took out some gaffer tape to Josh Coulter there, just to keep the lips sealed. And he stands on the mark. Passador for goal number 4 for him. Deliberate approach. Can he work it back? He can't. 13 points, the difference in favour of the Eagles.
13 inside 50 to the Eagles this quarter, boys. 5 for North Adelaide.
Certainly showing that dominance. And Brody Lomas, I'll be interested to get the stats on him this quarter as well in a minute.
Coulter. Oh, he's run a long way. He's run too far. And he'll go off again. And the Eagles boys let him know. Justin Sikalala leading the charge. And there it is, 25 metres.
Oh, no.
He did go off the hammer as we watched this. The Eagles surrounded him. Sikalala got in his face. There was a push. And 25 metres, thank you very much. And they'll get another shot at goal from Mark Passador.
And I've just seen the big hook. Here it comes. Andrew Jarman.
And Josh Coulter knows it. And he'll get a serve from the Eagles fans in the grandstand as he comes off.
He's been so good today too, Josh Coulter. He doesn't need to do that. He's given away 3 now, 3 penalties. He doesn't need to do that. He's been playing very good football down back. He's been giving them plenty of return. But he is seething at the moment. And that man there looks extremely calm. Those nails, on the other hand, would vouch differently.
Been 7 disposals for Lomas this quarter.
Thank you. Hasn't he been on fire?
Passador has been on the end of it. And he's got another one. And the margin stretches to 19 points. Josh Coulter taking a breather. And there he couldn't help himself. That was the 25. Nothing much in it, but Justin Sikalala.
That's just the thing. It's just the thing, Neil. There is not much in it, but I'll tell you what. When you've had a couple of just paid against you, you don't want to give the umpires any reason whatsoever to pay another one against you. See Joshy Coulter there just warming down. He's throwing the hair, wet the hair down. He's had a pretty good day. 13 kicks and a couple of handballs, and that's not bad coming off the back line of defence.
19 points the difference. Eagles get the centre clearance. Lomas, wonderful kick. Finds Pedlar. Pedlar's got Sikalala. Decides to go further. Colville provides the lead. Simmons provided the block. McGregor got it away to Treby. Treby hooks it back. Passador's there. Can he work something? Vince is there. Lomas. Taken by Bamford. Is there a free kick? No. A throw
against Lomas.
Against Lomas. And McIntyre will give it to Ivans, who will take the free kick. In short is Schubert, trying to run through that knock on the hamstring. Ivans to Uni in front. Good mark.
And a very good kick too, because Uni has run all the way through the centre square for that. So that's a good 60 or 70 metres he's run. And the kick had to be perfect, and it certainly was.
Everyone's manned up, so Uni goes for broke. Perry tries to get in. Wakelin at the front. Colville thought he got one high initially. Laddams takes him to ground. The umpire comes in and will ball it up. There's Josh Coulter. Cooling off. Getting a rub on the hamstrings. I'm sure he'll be back soon. He just needs to probably reassess things.
Just bring a bit of heat down from the head to the legs.
He was on fire earlier. Bamford.
That's holding the ball.
And gets a free kick for a high tackle. Or is it going to Jarrett?
Yeah, because he put the other hand against the defend.
Thanks, boys. Well picked up. Jarrett's got it on the wing.
Jarrett takes his time. And then turns it over. And Latham says, let's get out of here. Kicks it inside 50. 4 players in there. But the Eagles with the advantage. Perry chases back on McKenzie. Good hand pass, Pedlar. Oh, took his time. Almost gone. Umpire, play on. And finally, Fiachi clears it. Colville steady. Higher on his left foot. That's why your hand passes wide. Running there is Stewart. Stewart goes down for McGregor. Ball sits. McGregor tried to tap it back. And it's out of bounds, half forward right for the Eagles, and the Roosters are under siege, and their fans know it.
Another matchup today, Neil, that's been a real benefit for North Adelaide is Motlop and Fiachi. So Fiachi in this quarter, though, just starting to get on top of Motlop and not letting that mercurial magic Motlop showing in the first couple of quarters come to the fore.
Dabrowski's tap was good. It just wouldn't sit. Now it does. Lomas. Off to Sikalala, looks inside, poor finish though. Well done by Hart, cleared the area for the Roosters. Now a bit of pace from Allen, picks it up and goes wide for Ben Hart, great stretch. Looks to half forward and goes for Alloway. He'll need a good bounce as well, trapped it nicely. And back on the left leg into the corridor. Oh, Bamford, well done. And Loney wants it. And he's saying get out of here and give it to me, but no. So he waits. White on a good lead.
Interesting.
And it missed him completely, and Jarrett cuts it off.
Motlop only one disposal this quarter.
Yeah, Fiachi's done a good job on him. Bamford kick was a real helicopter. Jarrett's kick's wonderful. Sikalala, and Colville's got a paddock on the outer side. He'll outrun O'Hara, who gives a good chase. Colville in, looking for Passador. That was tremendous courage by the North Adelaide defender, who's hurt back there. Schubert's caught. And ball held to him. In fact, it's Ivans, is it?
Yep. And Passador had nothing but cleaning Ivans up there in his mind, because the ball was falling forward. He didn't get to the flight, but I tell you what, Ivans will not back into that space again today.
Up goes Laddams and concedes. Oh, 20 points the difference.
That's an important point too, because they're just putting and piling on that scoreboard pressure. And North Adelaide are shell-shocked at the start of this quarter.
Well, start of this quarter, it's gone 24 minutes, Ben.
Well, that's right, and continuing. They were shell-shocked at the start of the quarter, and therefore it's continued throughout.
Oh, I thought that was a mark. The umpire called play on. Allen goes wide for Ivans. And Fairclough was involved there. Ball knocked out of bounds. Important time of the game now as we edge closer to three-quarter time. Andrew Jarman with plenty to think about. 20 points the margin. Well into time on in the third quarter, which has been dominated by the Eagles. They've come to play this afternoon. O'Hara got to the front. Laddams knocked it over. Inkster, good pace. And then he goes short for Passador. And in fact, we didn't go short. It went too long. Passador tracks it to the boundary. He's being tackled. What did the umpires say? Out of bounds, throw it in. McIntyre with the tackle. Perhaps a suggestion it might have been too severe. So in in front of the travelling Rooster band, which is just to the left of screen there. They throw the ball in. And we'll get another ball up. Benny Hart trapped 30 metres out from goal. I think North would be quite happy for the siren to sound and regather themselves at three-quarter time.
They certainly don't want to concede one.
There are the travelling Rooster fans. Arms folded, all of them.
Ball still in dispute. Umpire calls for another ball up. Gee, desperate times at the moment. For North Adelaide, they trail by 20 points. The Eagles in attack. O'Hara and gives away a free kick. McGregor gives away a free kick. Advantage rule paid. Goes to Laddams. Over the top to Allen. He's got to get away from Colville. The kick looking for White. Pedler did brilliantly. They knock it out of bounds. Damon White had that spell on the bench. Now he's back on. And haven't they missed him? They haven't gone inside 50 too often. 39 the Eagles, 35 North Adelaide. 20 points the difference. We've ticked into 26.5 minutes in this third term. O'Hara brilliantly down to Spawn. Spawn's handball to Motlop. Just his second possession of the quarter. Motlop just goes with a check side to half forward. Right, caught by Fiacci and taken to ground. And a ball up. Good defensive work by Peter Fiacci. We know he'll do that all day. And there he is. Andrew Jarman working the phones. What can he do? O'Hara brilliantly down to Spawn again. Spawn's kick. Just a wobbler to half forward. In goes Wright, throws himself in. Perry and Co have gone out of the game. In goes Powell, just trying to force the footy out. Perry again. Just stood up in the tackle to Krieg. Back to Motlop. Motlop with some magic. And that's not a magical kick. He'd be disappointed with that. And Mackenzie will clear for the Eagles.
Gialloway was standing there pointing to the open side for Motlop, and the kick just tumbled, didn't it?
That's because he's been under pressure this quarter. Early in the day, in the first half of the football game, he just had so much time and he used it so beautifully.
Treby early, free kick. Into Ivans, who did well. Just saw him cop one before from Passador in that situation at the front of a pack, just going back in. It hasn't stopped him from showing that courage again. So, Ivans, 2 years ago, the best and fairest winner at the Roosters, drives long. They'll want to mark. Perry sits at the front. Big pack, big numbers, ball to ground. And in the end, the umpire will call for a ball up. It was a long time coming, but eventually we got the ball up. So now we have another crucial stoppage, 28 minutes and counting, third quarter. Can the Roosters get one back? Dabrowski clears the area into open space. Ivans was first to read it. Now he's in trouble. He's gone. Oh, blindsided by McGregor. And it'll be a free kick to Ken McGregor. And Jarrett is making distance into open space for McGregor, and that's where he goes. Kick sits up, Ryswick comes to the front. What's the recovery like? Loney took it across the line, and he's happy with that out of bounds. 20 points to the margin. The Eagles, very, very good third quarter.
Wonderful tackle by McGregor. Ivans knew he was done.
Dabrowski's held his own too here, Michael, and that's been very important, giving Paul Lindsay the majority of this quarter, have a break, get himself ready for that last.
Yeah, good point, Ben. He has done well, Dabrowski. Allen just wore one. Spawn, they'd love a goal. They haven't kicked one in this quarter. The Eagles have kicked 6. Loney punishing left footer and a good kick too. Wonderful play by Mackenzie, who read it and knocked it out of the hands of White and then did some work to Fiacci, and the ball trickles out of bounds. That's what has got the Eagles back into this game, and they lead by 20.
Yeah, the likes of Mark Mackenzie, I mean, he didn't go down back early in the game. We've seen how dominant he can be through the midfield. Actually one of the best and fairest in need through the midfield, and then played predominantly centre-half back and half-back flank the last couple of years. But throwing back there has done a great job since moving back there in the second quarter.
O'Hara tries to funnel it out the back. Spawn, quick hands. Loney just off a step. It's a long bomb. Can they shepherd it through? They can't. Ball's thumped into the pocket. Colville will concede. Good experienced play by the former skipper, who gets on with play and finds Mackenzie at half-back.
Great kick.
They've broken well. Treby He'll go back and take the kick. Calls for the lead up. McGregor gives it to him. Just a little short of McGregor. Waiting was Schubert. Now back the other way. Alloway's free. White goes for him. Alloway in the middle of the pack. Nice mark. He knows he hasn't got much time. He waits. Ryswick tracking on the outside. And now he's got to have a crack at goal. Into the breeze. Have to carry it 60, 65 metres. Big ask for Alloway. Goes straight away. Not a bad one.
It's got the distance.
Away to the right. And North Adelaide finish without a goal for the quarter. And 6 goals from Woodville West Torrens. And the Eagles lead it at three-quarter time by 18 points.
Well, a great quarter by the Eagles. They were certainly dominant. North Adelaide, a little bit shell-shocked, like I mentioned at the start. Their dominance in their tall forwards just went out the window because of the fact they weren't getting enough supply going forward. And on the other hand, Mark Passador came into the fore. He went to full forward, played one out in the square, gave a strong lead, strong contest. Brody Lomas got heaps of the footy out of the centre and also going forward. And the Eagles crummers just working beautifully to Mark Passador as a one-man forward line, or also with Ken McGregor, obviously at centre-half forward, who came into the play a bit that quarter as well.
Isn't it amazing how things can change around after the half-time break? Certainly in the second term, you were thinking North Adelaide by how much, but the Eagles have turned it around in that quarter. 11-10-76 with Mark Passador and Schwarz and McGregor and Lomas, all goal kickers, multiple goal kickers. And then on the other side, 8-10-58 for North Adelaide with Damon White, Ian Perry and Loney. Again, multiple goal kickers, but they haven't done it in that quarter.
And that's right, no change to those goal kickers. I mean, we look at the stats, the Eagles getting a bit more of the football through that quarter. Obviously, North still dominant in terms of the numbers of possessions, but not the use that quarter. Marks, again, dominance in the air, and that's come from those big tall forwards in the first half. The inside 50s have evened themselves up, 39 apiece there, and that's the Eagles' dominance that quarter. The centre breaks, again, the Eagles getting a few extra centre breaks and bringing those stats back into their favour.
So 3 goals a margin at three-quarter time. Time to have a look at the VFL and the WAFL for the week with Angela Pipos.
Geelong travelled to North Ballarat to take on the Roosters in round 18 of the VFL, and the Cats signalled their intentions early. Charlie Gardner goaling inside the first 30 seconds. They put on the first 3 before the Roosters hit back through Jacob Spalding. But the Cats again took charge, booting 5 goals to 1 to end the term and went in leading by a whopping 42 points. Geelong's dominance continued in the second, Gardner booting his 3rd early, with Josh Hunt and Jackson Holmer also chipping in. The Roosters' only joy came late in the term through Derek McAuliffe. The Cats lead out to 60 points at the half. The Roosters improved in the third, matching the Cats' 4 goals thanks to an inspired period in which they put on 3 in a row. The home side did manage 2 late goals, but the Cats' intensity was too much for them.
And look at that. That is terrific stuff when you consider they're 68 points in front.
Geelong running out 71-point winners. The Cats win their 3rd in a row, while North Ballarat's inconsistent season continued. The Roosters now fighting to stay in the top 4. In other round 18 matches, Casey beat Tasmania by 61 points. Port managed to hold off a fast-finishing Werribee. Sandringham were far too good for Box Hill, the Zebras winners by 46. The Bull Ants beat Frankston by 44 points. Bendigo defeated a disappointing Williamstown, and Coburg had the bye. To the ladder, and Sandringham still lead from Geelong, Coburg and the Roosters. Williamstown and Casey are next, the Bull Ants and Port rounding out the 8. Bendigo are next, followed by Werribee and Frankston. Then it's Box Hill with Tasmania on the bottom. Round 20 of the Waffles saw top-of-the-table Subiaco travel to Claremont to take on the second-place Tigers. The home side began brightly, Chad Jones booting 2 majors as his team kicked the first 3. The Lions hit back late through Sam Larkins, but still trailed by 15 at the first change. Chad Cossum found the going tough early in the second, as did his team. The Lions going further behind thanks to 2 quick goals to the Tigers. But Brad Smith's first got the visitors on a roll. 4 goals in a row, seeing them cut the margin to just 4 points.
In comes Cossum. Chad Cossum puts through another one for the Lions. They've got 4 in a row.
Before Michael Cousins snapped truly to have the Tigers out by 10 at the main break. Claremont dominated the early stages of the third, but couldn't consolidate on the scoreboard. Their 1-goal-4 start, leaving the door open for the Lions, who hit back through Larkins. The teams traded goals for the remainder of the term, and at the last change it was the Tigers by 15. Claremont blew the reigning premiers away in the last. Chad Jones and Trinity Handley impressive in front of goal, and Anthony Jones reaching into his bag of tricks.
That's one of the marks of the season to Anthony Jones.
The Tigers' final term yielding 6 goals to Subiaco's 2 to see them run out 38-point winners. The win a major boost for the home side's confidence heading into the finals, having been beaten by the Lions in their previous 2 encounters this season. In other matches, East Fremantle took the points in their match against South, the Sharks by 19. Ashley Wedding's 8 goals for the Swans saw them defeat Perth by 12 points. East Perth beat the Thunder in a high-scoring match at Rushton Park, and West Perth had the bye. To the latter, and Claremont's win sees them draw level on points with the Lions with a game in hand. South Fremantle and East Perth are next, with West Perth a game outside the 4. East Fremantle and the Swans follow, ahead of the Thunder, who are 1 game clear of the last-placed Demons.
And while we're listening to that, so does plenty of noise from both huddles.
Yes, Andrew Jarman was very passionate. We'll just take a listen to see exactly what Jars had in mind in that break.
Crikeys. Got smashed in stoppages. That's the reason why they got on top of you. That's it. First half, you're all over them in the contested ball. So let's get our bodies back on the line for each other. Come in here. Come on, boys. Positive note. You got 30 minutes. You're only 3 goals down. Hey, if you firmly believe you can run over this mob, run. Take a risk. Backline run. Everyone run and get it in quick. Get it in quick. You create some luck. Way you go. Come on, boys. Let's go.
Simple as that. Run, run, run. Let's see what they do, North Adelaide. Here's Michael Maney with the final quarter.
Boy, they're really going to have to get a wriggle on. The Eagles, sensational 6-5 to 3 behinds in that third term to really set it up for them. They're good enough, they'll win. North have got to come from behind. All set up for a wonderful last quarter. 3 goals in modern day football is not much. Paul Lindsay set them up in that third term. Can he continue on the work? SNFL football at its best. Final quarter underway. Wakeland jumps high. He's ready for action. Stewart back to Jared, to Lomas, who had a wonderful third term. High ball, thumped away. Laddams, handball a bit too quick for Hart. Ivans has got to mop it all up and kicks to the wing, and it goes out of bounds. Some of the top ball winners in the third term for us. Up to the third term, Chris Kendall.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. For the Eagles, Jared 21, Treeby 15, Lomas, Vince, Colville 13. For North Adelaide, Allen 21, Ivans 20, Loney 17, Hart 16.
Chris Kendall on stats for us this afternoon, doing a wonderful job. Taken by Lindsay out of the ruck. An early goal here to the Eagles would be interesting in this game. Schubert gets back after the Vince kick probed inside 50. Schubert, who spent some time on the bench.
It's a dangerous kick.
Motlop's got to do some of his best work here with Sikalella. You think he's up to the task. Just gets it out in front of himself and keeps his feet while Sikalella went to ground, and he's not happy about it either. Motlop kicks high. Who can fly and take a mark? Big pack. Perry does the roving. He just goes without the footy.
Too high.
And a free kick. Too high.
Joey Pedler.
We'll go to Joey Pedler.
It was interesting because all 3 Eagles flew then and left Perry to crumb in, and Perry just overran the football. If he'd taken it cleanly, he would have had a shot on goal.
Coulter got around the front of Sikalella, who came again, trapped it, or he knew he had one there, and then that player went away in Lomas. And so
Perry's
North
in the pocket
Adelaide,
here. Perry is on if he can get it there.
North Adelaide released to Bamford, goes long for Perry, carries, no! Luke Jarrett just swooping across the flash. And concedes the minor score. Quickly scores at other grounds. 3/4 time at Albert and Port. Getting beaten by 39 points by Sturt. And it's goal kicking again for Sturt. 15-8, plays 8-11. So Port inaccurate in front of goal. And at Norwood Oval, it's Norwood by 29 points over West Adelaide.
West Adelaide showing some good late season form.
Speaking to Luke Donaldson during the week, and he's talking about the fact that they are super keen to get themselves off the bottom of the ladder, and they feel as though the way South are going at the moment, they've got no worries whatsoever. If they get a couple of wins under their belt, they can get off the bottom of the ladder. So also an important game for Nord to win to keep their slim finals chances alive.
Well, if you're on the bottom, you need to have something to play for, and Wayne Weedham's got them together, and they're playing some good football, even though he won't be there next year. Loney has a bounce.
Will he kick it?
All he can. He probes long. Can it get shepherded through? Perry tried to do his best, but Mackenzie provided something on the line, and the ball goes through for a behind. But North Adelaide, they're coming, aren't they?
Fellas, just quickly, since quarter time, Perry and White, 9 disposals, 4 marks between them.
And White had started so well. Oh, and he just started with his step then. As a result, Vince runs towards the wing and then centres up nicely for McGregor. Oh, McGregor's hand passed to Lomas, who was on his wrong foot. He may not have called that properly. He drops it into centre half forward. McGregor gets it back from Fairclough. Lovely pass in front of Passador, and his hands are just so good. And you might have seen flashing again through was Luke Jarrett, and Passador decided, no, I've got this one, thank you.
I think he'll go back and take the kick, nothing surer than that. But well done by Ken McGregor. He led up, he took the footy, got it on, and then grabbed it a second time. So that's excellent to see Ken McGregor really trying to bring some spark or keep that spark alive in the Eagles team. He was good through the second half of that third quarter. And Mark Passador, we know how good he is when he's on fire, and he's certainly been that for the last quarter of football.
12 possessions for Ken McGregor. Mark Passador kicked 3 goals in the third quarter, and now he's got a handful. And you'd think that the Eagles have got a fistful of this game.
That certainly could be tough for North Adelaide coming back from here. We see Mark Passador. They've left that wide open for him in this last half of football, and that's exactly what Mark Passador likes from full forward in that burst. The speed he's got, the 5 goals won, that 1 point he kicked, he'd probably be disappointed with himself for missing it. So could have had 6 very easily, and he loves having that 30 or so metres in front. And Ron Fuller just relying upon McGregor and Passador, and then his smalls to get that football through the goals.
Just to think he's been playing in the reserves. What a luxury to have Passador come back into the side and play such a dominant role in a game like this. Coulter quickly onto the boot. Stewart's got some work to do because he's got James Allen right on his tack. Did pretty well. Kick to a one-on-one. Hart and Simmons. Hart got it down to Spawn. Clever play. Coulter gets around Sikalella. Got the staggers, but then composed himself. Then kicked it long. Perry's got to go. Alloway's backing in. Perry couldn't take the mark. Motlop's there. We know he's good. Quick hands. Got tackled. Got it away. Handball over the top. Here's Bamford. He's got to screw it round. It won't come back far enough. 21 points the difference. Gee, North have had a few opportunities early.
And these 4-0s forward, they've got to make the most of them. They've really got to take their opportunities, take their chances. We saw Ian Perry crash that pack. He's not really jumping off the ground like he used to in his younger days. But a good effort all the same to bring it down front, down forward, and gave North Adelaide the crumb. Motlop with a bit of brilliance getting through and ducking and weaving, and a nice give. But Bamford not able to screw it back far enough.
Well, since half-time, North Adelaide's only managed to add 6 points. Not a goal, but all minor scores. 3 points in the third quarter, and now 3 points to start the final term.
And this man doesn't get any shorter as the game goes on.
Doesn't get any smaller either in terms of trying to get around him, to spoil him. Lindsay to centre wing. Schwarz in the middle. Ball came to Allen. Oh, he's got to release it sooner or later. Fortunately, the tackle fell away. That gave him a bit of time. Now they work it through their hands. Hart knew he had players inside. Here's Spawn. Spawn goes long and high. And Uni, for all the talls they've got down there, there was no tall target to go to. The ball punched away, picked up by Colville. Down the line he goes for Schwarz. Hands out in front, and Wakeland spoiled him somehow in his inimitable style. And I can tell you that Daniel Wakeland describes himself in 3 words. He says he's tall, gangly and unorthodox. And that was all 3 of those in that particular passage of play.
Really pumping himself up there, isn't he?
There's been pretty good value for them today, though.
You said it so well a minute ago, though, Neil, the fact that with all those tools down there, the delivery now when North are going forward, is going to the 1-on-2 or the 1-on-3 contest. And what chance have they got? Whereas in the first half, Perry and White and all the other options they had just seemed to be, you know, insurmountable for the Eagles.
The Eagles have been able to smother it up and man up and do a lot of defensive work just to cut that out, and they've been dominant through the midfield, Ben. That's what's been the key. They've got the clearances and they've dominated through the midfield to get it and keep it away from that potent North Adelaide forward line. Lindsay got the thump away.
Well
Treby, wonderful. Squeezed the kick out. Fairclough, speedy to another speedy player in Jarrod, who's caught. Well done, Bamford. Ryswick got it to Hart. Hart normally finds someone. Kicks out in front of Perry. He's got a yard on higher, and he takes the mark. Perry will wheel around on that left boot. Thought about going in short. Went to the pocket and found Uni. And Uni, we know he can kick goals from all sorts of angles, and you wouldn't count him out here. He's got the sun in his eyes, as you can see. He's done the Matthew Lloyd with the grass, and he's looking at a shot from about 35 metres on a very difficult angle. If you can thread this, they're half a show. Uni keeps it low. Will it come back? He's just kicked it to the near side. And it's back to 20 points the difference. Heath Uni this afternoon, 1 goal 2.
Well, we've mentioned it before already this quarter. They're squandering their opportunities going forward, but that's the pressure from the Eagles too, pushing them wide. Pushing Perry there with the short kick out to the pocket.
Another opportunity. Allen from 45 metres. No problems for this one. And that's North Adelaide's first goal of the second half.
They're just getting their hands on the ball, Ben, aren't they? They didn't get their hands on the footy in the third term.
In the third term at all, that's right. They were absolutely smashed across the ground. We see the contest there. The ball coming down in front. Motlop sitting himself beautifully. And on the kick-in with the return, that's what you'd love to do to an opposition team. If you can actually turn over when they've set up their zone or they're trying to get their footy out, if you can get that football and get that return back with the quick reply and get the 7-point play back in the centre, and this is where it's so important. Can O'Hara get over the top of Lindsay and give North Adelaide first use?
We'll find out in a split second. Lindsay got it down, but it was rode brilliantly by Spawn, who got it to the goal kicker in Allen. Worked under the footy was Motlop. Brilliantly played by Fiacci. Good tackle. He was good enough to get it to Vince. Here's Jarrod. He kicks out in front of McGregor. McGregor and Schubert. Schubert right on his hammer. McGregor just forced him forward. Over the top comes Ivans. Lomas is there. Ball locked in. They all hail the cab, and they've given a free kick against Ivans. They don't pay them in the SANFL. Lomas got the free. Thumping it away was Hart, and then roved his own ball. Got around brilliantly Ben Hart, and his kick somehow found Allen. Well, they haven't been calling those free kicks for sitting on the footy, and they just did it then. The turnover comes. It goes to Fiacci. He ducks a couple, has a bounce, looks at the forward line,
Simmons
ducking back. Simmons was at the back. Fiacci might go all the way. Awkward looking kick into the pocket, and it just fades away. Could have done so much better. The ball drop was pretty awkward by Fiacci. Ron Fuller knows it. And another chance for Ben Hart to find someone at half back.
I mean, it was so well done by Fiacci to actually break that line, get the football up forward, but that delivery, that disposal, oh, gee, that let you down. And we saw Ron Fuller, that look of anguish on his face, because he knows North Adelaide are coming at his team.
Lomas again at the front of the pack, wanted to release it. Ivans won't let him. He'll probably look around at the umpire, Luke Ivans, now and say, well, why isn't that holding the ball? He had that opportunity over there to pick it up. He decided to pick the ball off the ground, and then he'd no sooner got it than he had players hanging off him and was pinged for holding the ball. Great tackle by Motlop. The ball released to Ryswick. Ryswick goes wide for Allen. They've got runners through the middle, and here they are. Loney gives it off to Uni. Uni from 40 kicks a goal.
Here they come.
And the Roosters are on the charge.
They've puffed their tail feathers out. That's the second goal for Heath Uni. And North Adelaide are coming. A change now, Sikalella going into the centre. So we've got Sikalella and Lindsay with Lomas and Treby. I'll tell you what, they've got their best men on ball here. And we've got Luke Powell in the centre as well. So the Eagles have got their best first brigade of players on ball because they are understanding at the moment they have to win that football and have to get it out of the centre quickly, and they have to get it forward and give McGregor and Passador quick use.
Unselfish play by Loney. Could have gone for it there. He normally does, but Uni gave the handball off.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
Uni
It's
kicked
a
the
good
goal.
sign to see, isn't it? Because in the back of Loney's mind is trying to get his name up in lights, and if you get an extra goal or two, that will do that. But great team play, and that's what North Adelaide need.
Clearance to Motlop. They're inside 50. They trail by 8 points. The Roosters out the back. Shot at goal. Will it go through? It doesn't. And behind, Bamford was the man to get it on the boot.
And again, who is becoming important again in this game that was absolutely wiped out of this game in the third quarter? It's Daniel Motlop, and he is getting plenty of the football.
Margin back to 7 points. Jared, unrealistic attempt at a mark, and he'll be pinged, and the free kick will go to North Adelaide, and perhaps the Roosters fans feeling
Motlop
hard
still on
done
his own
by.
here.
They just cheered that. The Roosters feeling hard done by, perhaps by that Ivans free kick at half back. Perry chips it up. Looked like Spawn put the hands out. Play on, called the umpire. Released the hand pass out of bounds. Probably happy with that in the end. It wasn't the best of forward forays, was it? 7 points the margin. About halfway through the third quarter. Eagles have gone very small down forward. And stoppage all important. Uni took it. Was taken immediately down by Powell, who'd overrun the ball. We'll get another ball up 60 around from the goal face of North Adelaide. And they are pressing hard as Lindsay paws it down. Bamford can't break the tackle. Gee, that was good from Jared. Doesn't get a lot of credit sometimes for his defensive work, but that was quite brilliant.
25.
25-metre penalty against Bamford. Got to give it to him straight away, said the umpire.
Jared coming up for his 26th disposal, leading possession getter on the ground.
Thanks, Chris. Yes, he's been a star. Lindsay takes a break. This could be a crucial part of the game too, with Dabrowski coming back on. Jared kicks to a packed forward line. Mackenzie at the back. It was touched. Called to play on. Mackenzie was so good last week. Vince kicks long. Vince! Floating back. Could kick the steadier the Eagles are looking for. Jar's not too worried at this stage.
Joshy Coulter not having his best half of football. He played very well in that first half, but just got a little bit lost there, got dragged under the footy. Bernie Vince stood under it, and Josh Coulter had to push back and make that contest.
Crucial kick from Bernie Vince to take it back out to 13 points. Oh, I think he might have missed.
He certainly dragged it.
Oh, 8 points the difference. North stay in it. Not that they were out of it if he kicked that goal, but just makes it a little bit harder.
No doubt they would have enjoyed that. And Bernie Vince should expect a lot better than him. He is a goal-kicking forward. That's how he's used in the SANFL. It's how he's been used in the AFL when he's up there.
Ben Hart just belts it long. And at the front, O'Hara, quickly off to Uni, quickly off to Spawn, and then chip for Ryswick, and nobody's in front of him. Ryswick towards 50 he goes. He might cut inside. I still
Good
fancy
chase.
he might. No. Treby tries to run him down. Ryswick's too quick. Hand pass astray. Alloway was brave, and now it's come out the Eagles' way, and they might get some relief. Colville taken to ground. Umpire call play on. Laddams was clever. Got it away to right in front of goal, and they get it to ground. I think it was the big guy in Alloway. Got through.
There he is.
Motlop, he's been everywhere. And it's 2 points the margin.
How was the contest before that with Clint Alloway? Put the head down, dived through, made the spoil, and then he came through and got that one as well. The handball out to that man of the moment. I'm selling it. He is the danger man. Eagles need to watch that Daniel Motlop because he has had 4 or 5 touches this quarter, like he did in that first half, that have just split that defence open.
8 disposals this quarter for Motlop, 24 for the game.
There we go. And I don't think what do we have, 2 or 3 in that third quarter, so he's come straight back into it. He's had a good first half, and the last quarter he is becoming an extremely important player for North Adelaide.
McGregor off sodas.
Yeah, just having a little spell there. Schwartz back on. A lot of rotations Ronnie's been doing with his forward line. That's happened a fair bit today.
North Adelaide have begun into their forward line. Motlop released the handball to Laddams. Colville, the tackle. He had to release. Spills out the back to Spawn. How did he get out of there? Pumps it inside 50. Perry can't take the mark. Ryswick had to go. Spun.
Great tackle.
Brilliant tackle. He's gone. Stewart the man. North Adelaide supporters don't like it. But he got 360 and a bit more. So Stewart at half-back. Game in the balance after the Motlop goal. 2 points in favour of the Eagles. And they led by 22 points at the 4-minute mark of this term. Fiacci with the footy, called to play on. Roosters fans have found another voice. Wakeland's got to go. At the back, Allen couldn't take it quick enough. Over top of him was McKenzie, who win a free kick, James Allen. He may have perked up a couple of times at half-time. It's done him the world of good because he's been terrific since half-time, James Allen. He averages 27 possessions per game.
And it's an interesting move by Ron Fuller, who's brought Mark McKenzie up to play on Allen through the centre, therefore releasing another one of those key attackers, I guess, those key offensive players for North Adelaide. So, an interesting move, bit of the roll of the dice by Ron Fuller.
Alloway was a target, kick carried too far. And Jared with the mark defensively.
They've struggled to get it up through centre forward, though.
Jared takes his time. They're going to have to win it rather than save it, you would think. Jared goes long and direct, and Coulter goes back, and he lets Vince take it away from him in the end. And Vince's kick in front of Passador. McIntyre came late. Over the ball was Simmons. Comes into the open. Passador dived in. What does the umpire think? He thinks it's his ball. Colin Ralston under pressure there. Eagles fans on their feet.
A few nervous looks there. Mark Passador had to hold his feet in that marking contest, and then he went to ground again afterwards trying to push the ball forward. He's got to stay strong over that footy.
Ben Hart cleared the area. Now it's a 2-on-1. Schubert toes it away. Jared taken down. Umpire said it was okay. Spawn picks up the crumb. Now North Adelaide to half forward. Alloway free. And late was Pedlar. Alloway chases and higher, I think. An educated fumble over the line as Simmons, Mark Soderstrom, limps off again.
Well, the left ankle we saw early in the game, he rolled that, had it restrapped, he was back out there. A little bit like Slattery from Central District a couple of weeks ago. He did the ankle, went back out and looks to have hurt it again. So I think Dar Simmons, that'll be probably stumped for him for the day.
The Laddams quick kick finds Spawn. Spawn to Motlop. Is he the game breaker, Motlop? It rolls through. Roosters in front. Shannon Motlop, you mentioned it, Ben Knights. He's done it again.
Shannon Motlop has absolutely torn this quarter apart. He's been so well held in that third quarter. I think they've forgotten about his impact in that first half. But he has come to the fore. He's the man that's lifted, and with him, the North Adelaide football team. Stewart's on Motlop at the moment. He's looking at the bench. He's shrugging the shoulders. I think he's saying, is he too big? Is he too quick for me? Am I in the right spot? I'll tell you what, someone needs to stand up and someone needs to be on him. The North Adelaide runner is going back and forth because that's the man they're looking at. Who will stand Motlop?
North Adelaide in front for the first time since the 13-minute mark of the third quarter, when Passador kicked his second goal of the match and put the Eagles 5 points up. Now the ball trapped in again. We'll get another ball up. Players from both sides looking at the umpire saying, what about a free kick?
Neil, change for the Roosters. Damon White's gone back up forward and looks like he's got Powell picking him up.
Scrambled kick inside 50 again. Thanks for that, Soders. Ben Hart socketed outside 50. McKenzie's after him. Hart near the boundary line. And Hart does pretty well. Took possession, though. Play on over the line. Best result for both sides in the end.
It's like a Harlem Globetrotter there, Ben Hart, bouncing that football. 19-3 for Ben Hart.
It's amazing how much spring he's still got in his step, isn't it? He can still jump. He's gone 3 or 4 times over the top of packs today, and he's got great bounce for defence.
Jared inside 50. Contest important now. Schubert tried to shake McGregor. Umpire holding the ball. And Shane Schubert looks up and says, well, I was trying to hand pass it, but the hold that McGregor had was just too much. She's kicked 2 this afternoon. Ken McGregor is coming in for his 10th, and I would wager most important kick.
There's no doubt about that, Neil. I don't think you get very good money on that. He puts this through. They're back in front, and it is game on if it isn't already. What a fantastic climax.
Huge run-up. Passador put them 22 points up at the 4-minute mark. They've been bettered, and now they're back in front. Andrew Jarman, interesting. I wonder if you could actually print what he's thinking right now.
I think in a way he's thinking, this is out of my hands. We've played so well in the first 22, 23 minutes of this quarter. We're unlucky to get pinged there. There's so many hands on the football. I think he's thinking, let's keep winning this ball out of the centre. I think we're on top. I think we'll be right. Ron Frew on the other hand going. That's just what we needed to steady the ship.
5 in the middle, and Dabrowski gets the free kick. Oh, Jars would hate that. Unlucky break. McGregor can't take the mark. Fairclough, can he be the man? He kicks it high. A horrible looking kick. Who can take a mark? Oh, McGregor nearly. Sikalala, can he kick the impossible?
Great kick.
Sika! It's not there. It's knocked through from behind. Cool, goodness me. There's Spawn. Still plenty of football left in this match.
Keep in mind what's riding on this. This is third spot we're talking about. To be half a game behind North if the Eagles get up. Otherwise, they're 2.5 games behind North. North just about cement that third spot, and Glenelg are sniffing at their heels.
Spawn taking his time. Passador from behind. Play on, called the umpire, Fairclough, and he can seal it, and he does. Passador was brilliant. He waited off the regulation distance, waited for the umpire, and as soon as the umpire called play on, he pounced.
Oh, that is amazing. The umpires kept telling Passador, go away, go away, go away. Finally, no one on the mark. The umpires called the play on, and Passador got free run. Laid the tackle and the goal, and there's high fives all around for the Eagles, but they're not home yet. This game is in the balance. 9 points of difference. Around about 4 minutes or so of football to go.
I called it the sealer.
You've called it the sealer. I'm saying there's plenty of football to go.
Oh.
North get one here. Look out, Neil Cross.
It's tight. Motlop's over it, and the umpire's pinged him. The umpire's just pinged him for 3 crucial decisions have gone against North Adelaide in the last 5 minutes, and Lomas gets the free. They're working forward, the Eagles. Lomas, McGregor couldn't take the mark.
Got the crumbs.
In goes Inkster. He's so good at that. Oh, the umpires are giving free kicks here willy-nilly. You get tackled, you'll get pinged. Umpire Ralston joins the chorus.
Who wants them? How many?
Ben Hart.
Space for Motlop.
Motlop, he can run. He got Ryswick. He decides to go further afield, looking for Alloway, and he's got him. Working back is Damon White.
Distance.
Oh, distance.
On. No.
He could probably kick it from there, Alloway.
It's going to take a very good kick.
He hasn't booted one. He's booted 38 for the year. Sits it up. It's a good-looking kick. It's there!
Oh!
What a game! The Roosters, as Jars goes down to ground level. 3 points in it. The Fairclough goal was 9 points to the Eagles, and Alloway kicks an amazing goal from way out in the bleachers.
It's going to take a good kick, we said. That's not a good kick, that's a great kick. That's a kick of the day. That is from outside 50 on the angle with the pressure, knowing that he can bring his team within 3 points in the snap of this game. It's been toing and froing all day. There's so much riding on this. Not just where you end up in the position of the ladder, but also the bragging rights, because you'll probably meet again in a couple of weeks' time in the finals.
So the former Box Hill captain shows his leadership. Bernie Vince out of the middle for the Eagles. Touch play on. Ivans forced to kick quickly. O'Hara quickly off to Loney. Loney off the right foot for Ryswick. Into space, 70 from goal.
Play on.
Jared's got him. advantage. Now it goes down to centre wing. McGregor with the mark on centre wing. He decides to wait. He hasn't got anybody really down the line. Certainly not for the long kick. Umpire calls play on. McGregor now forced to go high. And in the middle of the pack, there was the fist coming through from O'Hara. So it's out of bounds on the far side. And we are beyond 27 minutes in this final quarter. Brett White, we know with a hamstring there, sitting to Andrew Jarman's right. Jars doesn't know what to do, and there's not much he can do. Down to the closing minutes. Uni out of the pack. Peter Fiacci was brave, and now they will slow it down and try and ice the clock. He goes wide for Lomas, who's found space, not just then, but all day.
Lomas between wing and half back. Kicks to the lead of Powell. And Powell happy to run it out of bounds. 3 points the difference. 5 goals, 5-3-2. North Adelaide lead the scoring.
Good to see Ron Fuller not just throwing heaps of men back as well. It's just one-on-one in the North Adelaide forward line, so backing his men in.
O'Hara, wonderful tap to Motlop. If they win this, they can celebrate him. Over the top, Ryswick needs a kind bounce. Didn't get one, couldn't hold on to the football. Lomas is over his opponent, taken by Ryswick. Here go North Adelaide. He kept it high. Laddams is there as it floats out of bounds on the full. Laddams hands it back. The former skipper in Gavin Colville as the phone gets worked again from Ronnie Fuller. It's about as animated as he gets. Colville kicks to a pack. O'Hara and Lindsay, they once shared the ruck duties at the Eagles. Wonderful handball, slipped out to Perry. Perrin is not preferred. Laddams couldn't take the mark. Sikalala with some class, and Vince has got some space on the grandstand side, and the Eagles push forward.
Can't be much time left beyond 29 minutes. Vince shows some good quality thinking. He didn't want to risk by kicking it too long, and so he kept it low. And Inkster out of bounds, centre wing. Tired players making their way to this contest. O'Hara and Lindsay. Lindsay leans in and then slaps it down to Vince, who's quite content to take the tackle and the bounce that will follow. Umpire Rouston, quickly, time on, time off. Lindsay again, down to Vince again. Same result. We'll get another ball up. It is not time off in SANFL football when they call for a bounce. Lindsay, Vince again, 3 in a row, clears it down to half forward. You fancy that might be enough for the Eagles. They've got it out of bounds at half forward. 3 points the margin. They led by 22 points at the 4-minute mark of the final quarter.
They just need congestion here, the Eagles. They just need to pounce on the footy. No fast breaks in North Adelaide. Hold it in, trap the footy.
Lindsay misjudges. O'Hara brings it down. Now there's a free kick. Picked out by the umpire inside the 50. It'll go to Uni. They want somebody to break. Uni decides to go down the line and high. Perry won't get there. On the half volley, no. Comes down to Fiacci. Out the back. And there it is. A magnificent game of football. And the Eagles have won by just 3 points. And Andrew Jarman packed the bags and off he goes. After such a great victory last week over Central District, the Roosters go close but not close enough. The reigning premiers, the Eagles, home by 3 points.
Oh, what a game. That is what SANFL football is all about. A close contest, a tight contest. Two teams, both trying to get the footy, both with unsurmountable ability, fighting for a spot in that finals. We see the captain there, Gavin Colville. I'll tell you what, that is a game and a half, Crossy, and I am so happy that I've been here to see it.
Magnificent. 14 goals, 12 plays, 13 goals, 15. In the end, perhaps, just a little bit of inaccurate kicking and a couple of poor disposals has cost North Adelaide, and one of the Eagles' heroes definitely, Mark Passador, in front of goals, and he's now in front of Mark Soderstrom.
Well, Pass, after a little bit of time out with a knee, a month in the twos, you must be pretty pumped getting back into senior football with a game like that.
Yeah, mate, I was wrapped. I didn't know what to do with myself this morning. Got up normal time. I thought, gee, what do I do now? Nearly forgot the routine, so I'm wrapped to be back in the side.
It's been a pretty tough month.
It has been, but you know, I guess I had two choices. I had to stay positive, or I could have thrown in the towel, and that's only going to affect the team and myself. So I was able to stay positive, had some good support around me, and I'm just wrapped to be back.
Well done, mate. Your hard work has been rewarded. Now, 5 goals was a good return, but just that tackle that led to Sammy Faircloth's goal, I think, was as good as any of your goals.
Yeah, I don't do that too often, so it's something I'm trying to improve on, so I was wrapped to do it.
Well, Pass, well done. And also, too, just sort of sorting things out. I know Grogi had a hamstring, Salter a hamstring as well, and Schwarz is going well. Just trying to work out this forward line before we get into the finals.
Yeah, look, it's good. It's a good thing for the footy club, you know, 4 blokes up there and probably really only 3 spots, but it's good for competition. Everyone's raring to go, so it makes a good footy club.
Well done, mate. You deserve to go well today. You've worked very hard in the twos, get over the knee. We look forward to seeing you as the season hots up.
Thanks, Davis. Cheers, mate.
Mark Passador there, 5 goals this afternoon, an important ingredient in the victory for the Eagles. But, gee, up forward, we did wonder. We thought North Adelaide would be much more dominant with their forward presence, but in the end, the Eagles found the way to goal bench Schwarz early, but then Mark Passador finishing the job off.
Yeah, look, it was really important. We said that North Adelaide had the dominance in terms of tall forwards. Schwarz didn't have probably his best day ever, but you know, his early goal there, it was a dispute whether or not it was touched, but just the quick thinking to be able to bend down, get the footy from hand to boot, and that got the Eagles off to a good start, which they sort of did in every quarter, really. But then North Adelaide came, and in that first half, especially the second sort of 2/3 of each of the first 2 quarters, North Adelaide really became dominant. This man was good, and in patches, his third quarter was as good as any that I've seen as well. Brodie Lomas and Motlop, I talk time and time again about how good he was in the first half, just with his mercurial skills and just his ability to find space for himself and also for his teammates. And in the last quarter, he almost won the game for them.
A lot of quality out there, isn't there? We talked about the number of AFL players and that, but Luke Jarrett was very impressive. Young Fairclough, you think, might have a future in the AFL too.
Oh, you certainly do. And I mean, it's the breeding ground, isn't it, of AFL footballers? You look at how many AFL footballers are playing now that have come from SANFL footy, and especially from these 2 teams. I mean, the Eagles have got heaps in the AFL, and you know, it's great.
There just celebrating a great victory, a quality victory, and one that signals yet again that the Premiers are very capable of winning a second premiership in a row. As we look through how it unfolded this afternoon, and at quarter time it was North Adelaide, great start by 13 points, and then by 20 points at half time, and then the Roosters collapsed. The Eagles come flying back, didn't they?
Absolutely, 6 goals to 0 in that third quarter, and that's what set the game up for the Eagles. And the last quarter was just one of those classic tussles going back and forth. Teams getting in front, teams falling behind, and just fighting on and fighting on. The siren at the end just gave the Eagles that advantage.
Mark Passador, Ken McGregor, Ben Schwarz, and Brodie Lomas, the multiple goal kickers for the Eagles, and Damon White, Ian Perry, Loney, Uni, Motlop. Shannon Motlop was special at times for North Adelaide with a couple of goals in that last quarter in the 3-point loss for the Roosters. And through the stats, and North Adelaide 57 more disposals, 30 more marks, 5 more inside 50s.
Well, that's right, and we saw in the first half especially how dominant they were at the centre breaks and also the inside 50s, but the Eagles there in the centre breaks, that's where they got on top in that second half and came back, and that was so important. The number of times that Brodie Lomas and Sikalella and Colville got the football out of the centre, that really cost North Adelaide the game in the end.
It did, and maybe that might cost them also the double chance. You never know.
Half a game.
The Eagles are closing in, and combined with other results this afternoon, it leaves a very interesting picture because the Eagles now winning by 3 points. They're within half a game of North Adelaide. Sturt beating Port by 35 points. Norwood over West Adelaide by 62 in the end. The Redlegs with a good finish. Central and South to come tonight, and you would fancy that'd be another victory for the Bulldogs. Port Norwood, traditional rivals at Alberton next week. maybe there's a scintilla of hope for both sides that they can make the finals now. North against the Bays, Westies against the Eagles, Centrals against Sturt. Still plenty of good football to come. It was great this afternoon, wasn't it? And the Eagles by 3 points over North Adelaide. Thanks for your company. Thanks to Ben and the rest of the team. We'll see you next week.